It's like no good way to hold the light for this damn thing. But anyhow. And here we go. Hey, how we doing, guys? This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. Back to you again. Sorry, this is a Thursday night instead of a Wednesday night, but we were a little bit held up last night with some friends of ours from out of town. So kind of is what it is. Actually, the guys that were doing oil bypass systems and the oil, the premium oil and the break-in oil, they flew in to see us, and we went out to dinner with them last night. And by the time I got off the show, by the time we got somewhere, it'd be 10:30. So that was a little too much. So here we are tonight. Here's what it is. I promised everyone that I would do it on Thursday night. So again, here we are. How is everyone? I'm glad to be here. We've had a pretty crazy week. Since we released our kit finally, you can call and get a kit. We spent the entire week so far just absolutely cramming out kit after kit in the Hack Nation boxes. Hello from Ukraine. Hey, brother. My wife's mom is from Ukraine, ironically, but what that kind of looks like is when a kit arrives, we may get, like yesterday, we got 9 kits in. They get dismantled. They get sent through a processing procedure. The piston crowns go into a chemical bath. Like the minute they come through the door, the bearings all go into nano-sized. They get blasted with nano-sized alumina powder. Then they get cleaned, and then they go into a tungsten disulfide nano-sized powder process. It's all done under super high pressure. Then the wrist pins get super finished, and then the pistons obviously get ceramic coated, and it's quite the process. It's a lot of fun. Do we need any full-time help? I mean, we're everybody needs help, right? What happened to Wednesday? Well, Wednesday we had some the people that we do the oil bypass system and the oils with. They flew into town on Wednesday, so yesterday we spent with them, and of course we wanted to take them out to dinner, and that wasn't going to line up with doing the show. We would have been taking them out to dinner at 11 o'clock at night, so that's why I decided to move it to tonight. Just kind of is what it is. What do you think of the mechanical N14? I mean, I'd much rather have an electronic N14 personally. The mechanical N14 is a glorified big cam, and not as simple as a big cam, in my opinion. I'd rather have one or the other, a true N14 or a big cam, rather than right in the middle. You love all my rage bait. Anyway, guys, the number to call in if you want to be part of the show is 573-422-4225. That's 573-422-4225. What's my thoughts on the 3406B? That's kind of part of our fame is we're one of the few shops in the United States that will do B models. I'm not saying there's not any, don't crucify me here, but there's not a lot of places that do B models, and we've always specialized in them. And we end up doing 10 to 20 special builds a year where we take a B model and we make 600 horsepower, 575 to 600 horsepower. It's kind of a specialty we do. And there's always a slew of people that bring them to us every year. But let's get a little bit more in depth on the B model. What is the claims that people make about the B model? Well, TTM, what up, TN? Nothing but love for you over here, brother. Long story short, if you guys don't follow TTM, great people. Find them on TikTok. I'm sure they're on Facebook too. But anyway, anyhow, and he needs to get down here and get on the show with me. We do a lot of business with him out of Houston there. But your B model, I mean, the claim that everybody makes is, oh, it's the simplest engine ever, right? That's the reason that people give for why would you want to have a B model versus some other cat or some other platform. Nothing can be further from the truth. It's just absolute, complete, utter nonsense that the B model is the simplest cat. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's literally the most complicated cat. There's a lot more moving parts. There's a lot more going on, and it takes a lot more specialized tools and specialization in general to do the B model than it does a later year engine. So, you know, for your first truck, B model is a really bad idea. It's a really bad idea. Somebody asked me about the 60 series Detroit guys. One thing I see people say is we never see you building 60 series. I think I just made a video about that. We do so many 60 series here. We have a people come from all over the country to have us build our Canadian build 60 series. That's on a 14-liter platform. I'm not as big of a fan of the 12.7s. The 12.7s are a great engine. Nobody can argue that. You got a 12.7, that thing will go million miles. It's almost guaranteed, right? Unless the operator burns it to the ground, you got a million-mile engine, and it's more likely you have a million-mile plus engine if you have a 60 series Detroit. We all know that. No one can argue it. They get great fuel mileage. They last forever. They can be blown the fuck up, putting 2 gallons of oil down on the ground in a day, and that thing's going to get another 400,000 miles out of it, right? We all know that. But that trade-off comes from the fact that it's a very low displacement engine. One of the reasons it is so reliable is because it's just not doing what these bigger engines are doing. And they're not a pleasure to drive. They don't like to get out of their own way. They're not high horsepower engines. And even if you're one of those guys that cranks your 12.7 up to some stupid number and it doesn't last, you still can't replace the fact it doesn't have the displacement. So you're always going to have this low torqued engine. You may turn it up to 700 horsepower, but a 500 horsepower cat's going to eat your shit for breakfast when you get into a real pull with a real load, right? So, not a big fan of the 12.7 for doing any kind of serious work. Great first engine for a guy that doesn't want to have a lot of cost going into the engine, wants great fuel mileage. There you go. Great engine for that. I certainly wouldn't want to drive one. Can I use an SDP crank and block to build a 6NC? Technically, yes. Absolutely on the crank. No problems there. Your block, you're gonna wish you didn't, but can you make it happen? The answer is yes. You could technically make it happen. 100%. You could make that block work to build a 6NZ platform. Absolutely. It's going to be a pain in the ass, and you're going to have to do some elbow grease. But if you go watch, you can see in the very recent past 2 or 3 times we've done something very similar to what you're talking about there. Yes, you can use SDP crank block to build a 6NZ. You're going to end up using Acer rods and getting a industrial 16-to-1 piston crown to achieve that 6NZ ratio there. But ultimately the answer to your question is yes. I have a Signature Series 600. It's a Signature 600. What are your thoughts on that engine? My thoughts on the Signature is it's an 870, 871, just without an EGR, right? Because that's what it is. And your Signature 600 has the same aura around it that your 6NZ has. And it's not warranted for any valid reasons. So your 6NZ has all this aura around it because 500 of them were made pre-ELOG. So for that reason, the 6NZ has this unicorn status to it. Your Signature has the same unicorn status to it because it is missing a lot of the emissions items that the 870, 871 that came right after him has. But they're no better of an engine. Um, Back in their time when they first came out, people didn't fancy them at all. They wish they were using an N14. But these days they have that status. Um, I don't think they earned that status. They didn't earn a status of being this great engine because they were a great engine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. There's just nothing special about the Signature 600 that would make me want to go out and get one. We do have some callers, so we're going to get to the callers here really quick. Do y'all have kits for 7CZs? Guys, we have kits for everything. You have to understand we're doing the kits here. So the answer to anybody asking me if we have a kit, we did a Volvo kit this week. We did a DD15 kit this week. We did several Cat and Cummins, of course, but 7CZ kit is not a problem. If we don't have them in stock, you're looking at a 3-day additional lead time to what it would normally get to you. So it's really not that big of a deal. If you don't want us to, if you don't want a hack nation kit with all of the bells and whistles done to it, then do we have a 7CZ kit ready to go? Absolutely. Have it to you in 3 days. That goes for any kit. So anyway, how much for a Detroit 12.7 kit, brother? You got to call the call center. We want to talk to people. And make sure you're getting what you need to get if you want to get anything from us. So, Spencer Vanderhoff, let's see if our phone lines are working. Are you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, this is Spencer. Hey, just had a couple questions for you about an SDP cat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, it's kind of a high mileage unit. Was showing 1.9, just about to hit 2. Allegedly had a platinum overhaul around 1.6. I was kind of curious if you had any inputs about like the maintenance schedule on these. I see stuff all over the place, and everyone that has a different opinion on it. I thought I'd try to get one out of you, based just kind of about mileage on the oil, so forth, microns on the oil filter, and that sort of thing. Any pointers there at all?
Well, sure. I mean, how many miles did you say you're on it right now?
Going to hit 2 million probably this week.
So it's been overhauled at some point.
We think around 1.6, but they didn't have paperwork when we bought it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But the oil pressure suggests it's maybe been a little longer. I'm getting like 50, 55 psi down the road. Warm idle 35, 40 on a good day. That's on a fresh oil change.
Okay. And how quickly? So there's a sign right there. Okay. When you say on a fresh oil change, that makes me immediately think that after an extended interval, you're seeing lower oil pressures.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that can only happen from excessive combustion gas going into the crankcase and plugging the filter, which means that you need to, first of all, you need to address that, because that ends, and everybody needs to pay attention here. I've been preaching this forever and ever. This ends with a hole in the side of the block, okay? Because if if you have enough combustion gas going into the crankcase, you are degrading the oil, and the oil is not doing its job. And so how you can avoid a hole in the side of the block is to dramatically decrease the amount of time between oil changes, right? So if you're a 12,000 mile guy or a 10,000 mile guy, we need to be at 6, 5, somewhere in there, long before that filter is causing you to lower your oil pressures, right? It's your filter that's actually causing that oil pressure to drop. And that's alarming, to be honest with you, because you should
well,
be how
I think it's kind of maybe more so the oil though, because I actually just changed the filters. I just hit 12,000, and I thought same thing. I thought maybe my filter's plugging, but I'm running a 40 micron when it's calling for 21, and I put that on there, and I'm still getting the same reading. I think I've actually just got so much soot and maybe blow by going on, and it's just cooking it as well.
Right, but cooked oil won't lose oil pressure; it'll lose viscosity. but it's not, and it shouldn't lose any oil pressure, right? So, I mean, the only thing I can figure is you're plugging everything up really bad, but um, that's huge red flags, right? Huge red flags that before too long here you're going to be, eating up the valve train at minimum. Just really eating up all the wear components and quite possibly ending up with some kind of catastrophic failure. So
yeah, I've got a Caterpillar oil sample. I'm gonna go ahead and probably do that real quick at 12,000 and see send that off. But I feel like I'm probably overshooting it. But
yeah,
do you think if I went to a 21 micron and would that kind of help catch some of that earlier and keep it cleaner for it?
no, it'll just mean you have lower oil pressure faster.
Okay.
So, your regular truck filter, just go buy a truck filter. They're somewhere 30, 40 micron. And then your high efficiency filters are closer to 20. And a high efficiency filter will actually can potentially give you lower oil pressure. But it certainly will, if you're having a filter plugging problem, it's going to plug way faster. Right. Now, I'm not saying that's not a good thing for catching more sediment, but what you really need to zero in on is until I can address the underlying problem of I got broken rings or whatever the hell is going on there, I need to drop this oil change interval from 12 to 6 because oil's cheap, engines aren't.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, brother.
Right on. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, thanks so much.
Yep. Good luck, man.
Yep.
Bye. Man, it is freaking hot in here. Are we a day late? My my favorite diesel powered Joe Rogan. That's funny. Okay. Engine is blown. That guy's engine's probably in worse shape than he wants to admit. I mean, if you're getting to 12,000, 10,000, 12,000, and you're dramatically losing oil pressure and it comes back from changing your oil, you're on the quick road to a bigger problem. You really are. I mean, guys, that is what ends up with the hole in the side of the block. That's actually how that happens most of the time. It's a degradation of the oil, wiping out bearings and stuff like that. All right, back to the callers. Magnum Webster, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Oh man, how you doing?
Good, man. What's up?
Well, I got a few things. I spoke to you before on this OISX. I got a 9200i International with a 615 in it. Anyway, I've noticed, which, I mean, there goes a time when you're paying attention to shit and then you're in a rush and you don't pay attention to shit. And I don't hear it on anybody else's truck when I'm around them at an idle. And I get different answers from this. So when I'm sitting at an idle, my air actuator on this turbo is blowing air out of the rod at the bottom. That's not normal, is it?
No, you got a blown seal.
Okay. I thought that's what that was, but, it's like, you never know. And then my next question is, I'll get that fixed. That'll be a no-brainer there. I'm running this AMSOIL bypass system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running T6 1540 Rotella T, which is synthetic, and I've been going 15,000, changing the filters at 15,000. And I'm having really good luck out of it doing that. But I feel like I'm having a lot. Like I put my hand over my blow-by tube, or not over it, but I put it close to it. Man, I feel like this thing's putting out. I mean, I'm talking about high-speed fan pressure, and I just heard you talking to that guy just a second ago about his blow-by being high. I don't have a lot of smoke, And then say if I put the truck in high idle setting, it doesn't push any oil out. You know, in the wintertime, you'll see a little smoke because, of course,
but
you
brother,
got
man,
temperature.
you have a Cummins, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep.
Cummins are very deceptive because they have a recovery system that puts the oil back into the crankcase. Cummins are very deceptive. You could have just as bad of a problem as the last guy and not even know it. That's one thing I don't like about the Cummins platform and their breather box on the side and their recovery system. Yeah, it's great, but it's not so great for knowing what's going on for guys that aren't doing oil samples and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. I'm going to do an oil sample this time around. Then I got one last question for you. I watched a video of yours a couple of weeks ago. You had a truck in your shop and you went to the smokestacks on it and there was black runoff on the stack. All right. So I have seen that in the smokestack on mine. Now, I know not all the time that's going to be the case. Mine's turned, I guess you would call it miter cut.
So
but I've seen that on mine.
There's hundreds of people arguing with me that rainwater, go into the truck wash. All that stuff, in my opinion, is nonsense. I owned trucks forever. I mean, I had I took 12 trucks through Hurricane Matthew, right? You want to talk about getting some water in your shit? I was in Hurricane Matthew. The end dumps that I had were half full with water, right? And when you can sit there and pour water in your stack, and what happens? It gets down to the flex pipe and it all runs out. It all runs out. You start it up,
and then what's left will evaporate before it shoots out.
You're damn right. And you start it up, and it steams it off. No problem. I mean, I've never had water blowing all over my trailer, my truck. I don't care how many guys want a white knight and pretend like that's what's going on. If you're blowing fucking oil all over your shit, it's diesel fuel mixed with soot and you're wet stacked. It's just how it is, right? And if you have black shit running down your exhaust system, you have had an event where you didn't burn the diesel fuel and it blew all over the place. It just and you think it's never happened to me? I mean, I'm not pointing fingers here, boys.
Well,
you know,
right. And you know, I've been in the. I have a race car that I run alcohol on, and you know, alcohol, well, you know what it does. You got to run twice as much of it as you do gasoline to keep the motor cool.
Right.
So I've actually had my car so rich where it was shooting, and it's fuel injection. I've had it where you could put your hand over the pipe and it shoot alcohol out the pipe.
Sure.
You know, I mean, and I get where you're coming from there, you know, so, and it was when the motor was cold. I hadn't made a pass. So it wasn't burning it off.
Yep. No, and
that,
that's all
it makes sense.
It's so hot in here. I can barely. I don't know if somebody turned the AC up or what. I got to go check it here. But anyway, what else can I do for you, brother?
Hey, that's it, man. I just wanted to know, you know, kind of what your thoughts were on that runoff on my stack. Can I replace the blown gasket on the actuator, or do I just need to get a new actuator?
I'm almost positive you're going to end up with a new actuator, brother. But I'd reach out to the boys though at the call center because I know my son was just making videos about that kind of stuff, and they could probably get you hooked up for astronomically less. So, all right, man.
Okay.
Later.
Yep. Yes, sir. I'll get a hold of y'all. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. We just had let me go check this AC. Give me 2 seconds. So fucking hot. Good God. Yeah, that was the problem. It's actually my fault. I told the I told the office gal and Yuli, I said, when you leave here, make sure you turn that AC up to 70. Don't leave it on 65 or whatever I put it on when I come in here. And she left about an hour ago. So she did what I told her to do, and now it's burning up in here. Ah, woo, it's so hot. 70 to me is too hot. Inside, I can take being outside and getting hot, but anyway, we got quite a few callers. We'll get back over to them. Did see some comments I wanted to look at really quick. Why do 6NZs have so many head problems? They don't. Head problems are almost exclusively an operator error of some kind on all platforms, not just cats. How do you avoid liner failure on an X15? Not deleting them is one way. Keeping the EGR intact. Getting a good intake, a good exhaust. I believe our stiffener plate helps with that. There's definitely things you can do. Yeah. 65 is an icebox. Man, I'm 47. We've been in Texas for 2 years, right? So for 45 years, I was either in Idaho, Alaska, Idaho 18 years, Alaska 19 years, and the rest of the time in North Dakota. So like 7 years. I froze my ass off, really froze my ass off, and then went to the armpit of the world and froze my ass off. So yeah, 65 is not an icebox to me. That's t-shirts and shorts weather right there. Currently own an X15 and 2 MP8s. My biggest problem is computer software. What's the best all-around general computer that can get into these trucks? I really don't want to spend thousands of dollars on softwares and subscriptions for my 3-truck fleet. Well, first of all, the X15, all the software is free. Make an account on Insight, QuickServe, whatever. All that's free. The MP8, I don't know about. I don't have any of that software. I know for PACCAR software, I have to pay for it. There isn't some computer program you can buy that I know of that just kind of encompasses all that. And guys will get sucked into buying these computers off like Snap-on computers and Matco computers. Don't do it, man. Don't fall for that. You're going to spend a shit ton of money and have a computer that won't do jack shit for any of your stuff. You bought a 6NZ from us today and we shipped it today. There's actually a guy in the parking lot that showed up that we're doing an engine for. He said he was going to hang out with me in here. I don't know what the hell happened to him. I know he's going to go and hook his trailer, but I told him come hang out with me in here, but maybe he's camera shy. Ellie Sullivan, you're on the air. What can we do for you?
How we doing, bud?
Good, man. What's up?
I've got a 3406B. It come out with 90 model Pete. I was watching one of your videos where you was talking about taking a 4MG and more or less making a 3ZJ a steam model out of it.
Yep.
Is that just crank and rods that you put in?
Yep. We do that on all of them, man, if we're going to put any horsepower to them. And yes, you're just looking at the crank and the rods, and then you're just buying the out-of-frame overhaul kit to match your higher horsepower application. We're going to go with like a monotherm steel piston crown, get rid of that aluminum skirted bullshit that they came with. And that's how we go that route. But it's really not like some magical shit. You're just really just buying, C model stuff and building it out of that. And it's really knowing the right kit to get to match up to all that.
Yeah, I actually called your call center and they sent me a quote on a build kit with the monotherm pistons and the coatings and everything. And so I plan on buying the kit off of you pretty soon, but I got to get the block off to the machine shop every morning.
They can get you that crank as well. You just have to make sure you're talking to somebody. I mean, almost everyone that works for us is pretty good, but you have to make sure they know what you're talking about. We have the rods, we have the crank to do what you're trying to do. We do a lot of them here. So I know for a fact they can source all that for you. We got it. Probably in Houston.
Yeah, I spoke to him I spoke to him about the crank, possibly the crank, the cam, and a round port head, stage 3,
Yep.
fully loaded.
Yep. Switching to that round port head's like the best thing you can ever do to those. You're on the right track, brother. If you're trying to build a bigger horsepower B model, you're definitely going down the right road. That's how you do it. That's how you do it right.
Okay. What? That's what I'm probably going to end up doing. But one question: the cam. Are there any changes you got to go with the cam, or is this just same cam?
No, so like we don't change any of that. Oh, we'll take the pump. Let's say I was doing it for you. Okay, so I'm going to do all those things you just named. We're going to do a round port head. We're going to do monotherm steel pistons. We're going to change the crank. We're going to change the rods. Then from there, we might do a little bit bigger nozzles. I don't even focus too much on the nozzles, worry too much about the nozzles. I usually kind of just leave that up to my tuner, so to speak. And we send the pump out. We have a place in Houston that does them for us. And we'll tell them turn it 15 over and tell them exactly what we're doing. And they may suggest, we go one size bigger in nozzles. And you really can't go wrong there. Maybe go one size bigger in nozzles and just it really comes down to having somebody do your pump that knows what the fuck they're doing, right? So we go 15 over on the pump. We're going to end up landing somewhere 575, 600. And then we're going to put, we're going to have a good manifold on there, and we're going to have a 78 132 quick spool turbo. And the biggest thing you'll notice is that they jake like a freaking E model once you set them up like that. The jakes really come.
Is that with the standard 346A?
Yep. Yes. They'll jake like an E model once you open them up like that.
That's pretty good, because I've been looking for 349 super jakes forever, and you can't hardly find them.
No, you just run the standard jakes, rebuild them. They're so old, they're probably weak, but rebuild them. It's only like 120 bucks to rebuild them. And you put a good quick spool turbo on there that puts a lot of back pressure, and you have a good manifold on there. They'll jake about as good as an E model.
Cool. All righty. Yeah, I just need a little bit of education on it. I didn't know much about them, and it's hard to find any information, elsewhere. And all the old heads that used to deal with the B models and old pumps, they're retired or dead.
Yeah, there ain't no more of them. That's a fact.
All righty. Well, I sure appreciate you taking a call and answering questions.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
You too, Aaron. Thank you.
Bye. There you are. You don't want to be my special guest? I don't know. I don't know enough to be on here. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, crazy how you take the time to do this. Well, somebody's got to, man. Excuse my ignorance, but what can you use Insight on N14 Select Plus? The problem with Insight and Quick Serve and all that, they only go back so far. So if you put in your engine and you can't find it on Quick Serve or Insight or any of that, it just means they no longer service that engine. It's too old. And the trick there is to go on eBay and put N14 Select Plus service manual or whatever engine you have service manual, and you'll find them. I've never failed to find them on eBay, and they're always a fraction of the cost of going to the dealer. And that's the way, man. That's the way you solve that problem. Then you just have the paper copy and do it like that. Why did you change the coating on your bearings? Quality control reasons. And also because tungsten disulfide is just a way better product. We're learning as we go. We were trying to mirror what Calico does in the beginning, and just keeping our innovative minds open and our nose to the grindstone. We figured out there's other things we can do. So we sent a couple of thousand bearings out to have them tested with tungsten disulfide, and realized immediately it's a way better route to go. And then we went and visited the place that does it, figured out that it is something we can easily do in house, and within 2 or 3 more days we'll be doing it in house. So the tungsten disulfide is nice because the margin for error doesn't exist, because it can't bond to itself. So it's a nano process. You're using nano-sized particles under high pressure, and it can't adhere to itself. So once you apply X amount of the product, it can't add any more, no matter how much you try. So the margin for error doesn't exist. That's one of the biggest benefits. And then if you just do a modicum of research on tungsten disulfide and its applications in gears and bearings and bushings, you'll see why that's the smart choice. Anyway, back to the callers. David calling about a 6NZ. What can we do for you, brother?
Well, I've got a question, young man. Driving down the road, no load throttle, not accelerating, not decelerating. It'll pop through the exhaust. It's almost like a Jake's hit. Pop, pop. And it's usually a 1 to 2 pops. Not all the time, just once in a while. What in the heck would that be?
Not good.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it runs great. Good running truck, everything. Like I said, under no load, like I say, just driving along. And it's once in a great while. If I'm accelerating, pulling a heel, and back out of it, there's no rhyme or reason when it does it. But like I say, whatever, 1,500 RPM, just cruising along, it sounds like the Jake, pop, pop, and that's all it'll do it.
It's probably because,
and it ain't done it in a long time now.
It's probably because your slave valve is sticking up.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, somebody said it could be the cam sensor, and I changed it. It didn't do no good, But
no,
they just
no, and you get codes for.
Well, I didn't know.
You get codes for shit like that. That's a mechanical issue you're having. And you said it's a 6NZ, so the only mechanical thing that could cause that is the Jake brakes themselves. So either the electronic solenoid isn't turning off when it's being told to, or you have a slave valve sticking.
Okay, so just build them, you think? Put a kit in them, or think it'll help, or what?
I mean, the rebuild kit for 340 ECBA Jakes is $120, and you can do it without removing the Jakes.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah, I've done one or two.
Rebuild them.
Okay.
But
okay.
that,
all right. And that brings me to
sorry, go ahead.
No, anyway, when I turn the Jakes on, when I light them up, it'll come in one head, like 1, 2, and kind of, and it does actually kind of slow up. I ain't much of a sound artist, but it comes in slow before it feels like it hits all the way across the board. So that definitely could, be something of that nature.
Oh no, you're 100%. You got a slave valve fucked up, and a Jake brake rebuild kit's not gonna fix that. You're gonna have to go further with it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
So what do I do? What do I
buy? Yeah, I can't remember what the extra part of the kit is that gets you into the valve there.
You want me to check with you guys?
No, you need to check with like your local Peterbilt or Kenworth.
All right. Well, I certainly appreciate it. I'll give it a go.
All right, brother. I mean, worst case, worst case, you have to buy a Jake head, but you have to narrow down which one it is. As long as you have a Jake head to exchange,
which one it is?
Yeah, they're really not that bad. And you might be able to figure it out by cycling through the Jake cycles and seeing where your problem's at. And if you could figure it out that way, it might be money ahead just to buy the Jake head and throw a new one on there and use the other one as a core. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll look at that. I appreciate it. You have a big show, and thank you for all your knowledge.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
See.
I mean, if you got a correlation, right? It's happening when the Jakes come on and then doing it on its own. It's pretty obvious. Seems like to me. But so some guy was asking if I think that the last engine failure we had was the bearings. We made the fatal mistake of not making those send that engine back to us. It's a mistake we probably will never make again, considering what they did to us by blasting us on social media after we took care of them. Industry standard is failure analysis done by the company that produced the product. And we didn't make them do that because we cared about taking care of them time-wise. We didn't want them to be down for any longer. I communicated directly with the shop that was going to do the work. They assured me they could get it done, in like 10 days or something if I would just send them everything. And so I paid the shop to do the job, sent them all the parts, and then they threw us under a bus. Anyway, I can't answer the question of whether I think the coatings caused the failure, but we have over 160 engines running around with those coatings in them that aren't blown up. So use that to answer your question. Back to the phone lines. Brad Stevers, you're on the air, brother.
Aaron, holy man, this is awesome. Thank you so much for doing all this, brother.
Yeah, not a problem. What can we do for you?
And I just want to say, man, I just built a 12.7. I had a shop, our local shop built it, and I'm just kind of curious. I mean, semi-synthetic, fully synthetic. I'm getting answers from everybody, and I figured I would just go right to somebody who builds more engines than God does.
Hit me with it, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I must have lost you there for a second. So semi-synthetic, fully synthetic, what are you thinking? I mean, what are my options here and intervals?
So a full synthetic's kind of a commitment, and it's hard to convince people to run it. But, we've done so many tests here, and I mean like putting thousands and thousands of miles on trucks running full synthetic versus conventional. First thing I'll tell you is that semi-synthetics are a complete ripoff, and it pretty much doesn't matter who you're getting them from. Semi-synthetics are an absolute ripoff. There is no regulation stating how much synthetic has to be in an oil mixture for it to be labeled as a semi-synthetic. So a company can get away with 0.5% of semi-synthetic or of synthetic and call it semi-synthetic. So let me ask you what you think they all do.
Right, exactly. They make money.
so you're wasting your money on a semi-synthetic. Now, real quick, I don't want to get too carried away with this conversation. A lot of people on the line here, but let me break it down for you. The time of tier 1 oils is no longer here. It doesn't exist. It existed maybe when I was a kid, and I'm getting close to 50, but it doesn't exist anymore. All oils are at minimum a tier 2, and a tier 2 oil is an oil that has been hydrocracked at least one time. And most companies out there hydrocrack them up to 2 times, which makes a much better oil. So let's say you're going to CarQuest and buying the CarQuest brand oil, and it's cheaper than any oil you've ever seen. It's most likely because it's only been hydrocracked one time. And then you go ahead and say, well, I'm going to buy a name brand oil. You're probably getting something for that name brand oil in the form of been hydrocracked a second time. It is a much better oil. Okay. Now, back when I was a young man, Pennzoil started marketing a full synthetic oil that wasn't a synthetic oil. It was made from petroleum. And they got sued by Mobil 1, and Mobil 1 ultimately lost. And when Mobil 1 lost, everybody came out with a synthetic oil. Now, what the significance is there is they take a conventional oil and they will hydrocrack it 4, 5, 6 times. And every time you hydrocrack it, it changes it on a molecular level. And once you do it so many times, it doesn't even resemble regular oil anymore. And it gets so far removed from regular oil that they were able to win in court and prove that it is no longer a petroleum product proper. And so they were able to call it a synthetic. A real synthetic, which would be your tier 4 oils, are made from natural gas. They are not a petroleum product. So if you're running
awesome,
if you're running
fully synthetic in my motor is totally okay with you. I mean, you would do it in an older 12.7 motor that's a fresh rebuild. You would run fully synthetic without any question.
I would never run conventional oil in anything that I personally own. Ever.
Okay. That's kind of what my question was. I mean, I don't run it in any of my other personal vehicles or anything. I wanted to get it from you because I hear, run conventional. Don't waste the money on fully synthetic. I've been running Shapers 540 in here. And I just didn't want to spend the extra money, you know.
Shapers is a decent oil. The thing is if you're not going to push your oil change interval out some, it doesn't make that much sense. All right. So if you're changing your oil at every 10,000 miles and you're running some premium grade, Mobil 1 or you're running some AMS oil or something, or you're running our oil, the hack oil, you're throwing your money away. You really are. I mean, if you're only going to run out to 10,000 miles, run a fucking conventional. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you start to do the math and you do something like our oil and you run it for 1 million miles, you're saving tens of thousands of dollars. If you're running a tier 3 synthetic like T6, decent oil, you run that out to 20,000 miles. Look at the math on what it costs to buy T6 over T4 with one filter change in between at 10,000 miles, run it out to 20,000 miles. You're actually saving about $200. And you're running a better oil.
Okay.
To pull your oil sample.
That's awesome.
Pull your oil sample at 20,000. Just hear me out here.
Okay.
Take this challenge and call me back a couple months from now. Pull an oil sample at 10,000 on T4, and then pull an oil sample at 20,000 on T6, and call me and tell me which one's better. I already know the answer, but you tell me.
Okay. No, that's fair. I will do that.
All right, brother. Well, good luck out there.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll see you, buddy.
Yep. Bye. And all the bullshit that people try to feed you. Oh, you have to run whatever it was ran in it. Your engine's not a living being, guys. It doesn't care that you switch the oil. Lubrication is lubrication, right? There's not some weird thing out there where if you switch to synthetic, you're going to start leaking from everywhere, have all these problems. Same thing with your coolant. If you ran green coolant, you have to run green coolant for the life of that's all nonsense. Not only that, let's say you have some premium grade oil, like some AMS oil or hack oil or something like that, and you find yourself somewhere and, I'm a gallon low on oil. The only thing I can find is some shitty ass Dello 400. Guess what? It doesn't hurt anything at all to pour it in there and fill your engine back up. Mixing those oils is not going to cause you any problems at all. It's not great, but it doesn't hurt anything. Should we use a break-in oil at first on a fresh rebuild? I mean, we all should know the answer to that. The most critical time is the first 500 miles on the engine. Should you use a break-in oil? Of course you should. I've broken in hundreds of engines without it, but I started to become a believer in break-in oil. And this was all the way back in North Dakota. We broke in an engine. We broke it in the wintertime. The guy came back about a month and a half later, and this thing it had obvious blow-by. We did not get it broke in. The liners were obviously glazed over. Just on a hope and a prayer, I went down and bought 10 gallons of John Deere break-in oil. We swapped the oil out to John Deere break-in oil, and I took it out and I ran the shit out of it like I was trying to break it in for the first time. Cured the problem. And since then, we have done that probably 10 different times and it's so hard to get John Deere break-in oil. It's extremely hard. So we've never even attempted to try and do it for every engine. So occasionally we'll get engines that just didn't break in, and that's always our go-to is go get John Deere oil and break it in. That's why when I did this oil bypass deal, my big sticker on that was I'll do the bypass deal. I want a bypass system, but I want a break-in oil. I want a break-in oil that on demand that I can send right to people's doors and we can provide for engines we're breaking in here and all that, because it just does such a better job. The margin for error in that first 500 miles of you having an engine that forever drinks oil goes down to almost nothing. So I'm pretty proud and happy to have engine break-in oil that we can provide to everybody because I know for a fact it's a big deal. I mean, so every single overhaul kit that has ever been provided to every shop on the planet, doesn't matter who you buy it from, comes with a pamphlet inside that explains how your warranty is immediately voided if you have blow-by issues due to improper break-in. So if you think that it's not a serious problem or an issue or something that needs to be addressed or taken seriously, then why does every single kit on the planet, whether it's made by Cat, Interstate McBee, Cummins, doesn't matter, Cleveite, every kit's going to come with a paper telling you to go fuck yourself if you develop blow-by. There's a reason. Anyway, back to the callers. Matthew, you're on the air.
Hey, man, what's going on? Huge fan.
Thank you, brother. What can we do for you?
So I got a 99 Peterbilt with a 12.7 Detroit in it, and for about 2 or 3 months, it's had an extended crank. It has probably took 10, 15 seconds to crank up, and I replaced the check valve at the back of the head because that's what everybody said, and it didn't fix the issue. And then it was idling the other day on a stop, and it just cut off, and now it won't crank at all. And unless you hit it with ether to crank out, it'll crank. But then when the ether runs out, it won't. I've heard injector cups. I've heard cam crank sensors. I've heard a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
What gives, man? What do you think?
I think that you can probably write injector cups off as that's not the issue. It certainly could be, right? You have to understand there could be a million things going on. You could have a cracked head. You could be a crackhead for all I know, right? There could be so many things going on, but let's just try to walk through it really quick. Here's what we know. We know that you were having a hard start problem, and then it turned into a dying on the side of the road problem to a no start problem. Okay, so that's an escalation.
Right.
And, you were right to go for the check valve first. That's usually a hard start problem. But this is obviously an air problem, right? So here's how you figure this one out really fast, okay? Most likely you got a broken standpipe or a check or some kind of distribution valve or something going on where you're getting a lot of air. But here's how you figure it out. Take a fuel line right to your fuel pump, remove the fuel line that supplies the fuel pump, take your line and put it in a 5-gallon bucket of oil and start that thing again with ether or however you got to get it started and see if she'll run. If she won't run, it's from the fuel pump forward. You might have a cracked head, a fuel rifle in the head or cup or something. It's highly unlikely, but you're going to know if it's pump forward just by doing that. If it starts and runs, for a fact that it is fuel pump back. You're going to be back there at your fuel tanks, your standpipes, your fuel lines, your pickup lines, your return, something. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so pretty much isolate the chassis versus the engine.
That's right. And that's going to give you a direction to go. Once you have a direction to go, that's going to save you countless hours of troubleshooting, right? That's going to tell you immediately whether you need to be fucking with the engine at all. It's less likely that it's an engine problem than it is a hose or pickup tube problem.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
All right, brother.
All righty, brother. Thank you.
Yep. Good luck.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
I wish all the calls were that easy. What's that? Oh, I said put in a bucket of oil. Well, I mean, yeah, bucket of fuel. Put in a bucket of fuel. Brian Boyd, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hello.
Yep, we're here. What can we do for you?
Aaron, how you today?
Good, man. Good. What can we do for you?
I'm working on a Hummer CM870 that's got extremely lot of blow by, and I want to overhaul. But I also inherited a truck from an uncle of mine that had his built about 10 years ago. I never had mine deleted, the EGR, because I've seen and witnessed horror stories from friends of mine that had it done, and they end up with facing heads, all that stuff, because the cylinder's getting hot.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle had his done, and he passed away, but I can't remember what it's done. But he had the pistons cut in his for lower compression and went back to a T6 turbo, and it's got right at 900,000 miles on it.
Yep.
Is that an option? I could go with mine to not run the EGR, or what compression do you think he had his cut down to for it to work safely, not having EGR?
So that was really smart of him to do that. But that's not something I'm going to be recommending or even talking to you about. You're talking about dramatically messing with emissions, right?
Well, yeah. And I was like, well, he did his and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I were to do the same thing with mine, because I don't even have a clue, where he got the pistons done at, what the compression ratio on it at all. But I mean, the truck's got like right at 900,000 miles since he got an overhaul, and it runs fine.
That's not the engine you have now, right?
No, my truck's got like 500,000 miles on it, and it's blowing like a darn air compressor. It doesn't use any oil, but I need to get it overhauled, and I'm just trying to figure out.
Yeah, man.
Darn, could I go his route?
No, not
or
really.
just go back.
Not really. Somebody did a custom job for him. Not really, man. You're not going to find anybody that'll do that for you. And you'd have a hard time convincing me of the benefits of doing that, right? I understand exactly what what the old man had going on there, but you'd have a hard time convincing me that is a intelligent route to go. I'm not saying it didn't work for him, but I wouldn't be doing that if I were you. We have had pistons cut in the past multiple times, but for different reasons, right? Like, let me give you an example. I had a DT466 that needed to be decked, but it was already out of deck space. So when we decked it, the pistons were going to hit the valves. So I decided to go ahead and deck it anyway, and then I had the piston crown shaved 3,000 or 4,000 so they wouldn't hit the valves. That's an application where that makes sense.
Yeah, I was just curious because I ran a lot of 5.9 stuff in some pickup trucks that I've had cut to be able to run more boost, safely, but never on the bigger engine. This is my first.
You're running
first experience having with the ISX. I got 12.7 Detroit and cats, and I've never had to. This is the first round I'm having to have a motor overhaul on ISX. I'm really not familiar with them as much, but I've seen the horror stories of guys that had them deleted and they didn't last.
If you want my actual recommendation, just get the overhaul kit that goes to it and put it in it. You can't go wrong that way.
Okay. I was just a little nervous because, you know, longevity, and seemed like the other motors seem like have a lot longer lifespan than the ISX, and I was just like,
you know,
do I want to do something different, or do I want to go back this route and then, you know,
brother,
600,000-700,000 miles, maybe have to overhaul it versus $1 million? I was just kind of
three quarters.
Don't know what to do. It's my first rodeo.
5/8 of the engines that get done in this shop are Cummins, and 3/4 of those 5/8 are ISXs of some sort, and most of them are 2350 platforms. And we don't have guys. You almost never hear us talking about issues with Cummins on ones that, you know, we have none that come back here, right? Like none.
Okay.
Most of the problems you see with Cummins are directly related to the tune.
Okay. So if I go back and overhaul that motor like it was from the factory, would I expect more longevity than it did from the factory? Could I get, you know, 800, 900,000 miles out of it pretty easy, or it still might not last quite as long as a Detroit or
nothing's gonna last as long as your Detroit, dude. You're asking too much.
Oh boy.
That's just a fact. But I started the show talking about the 60 series Detroits, right? And they get a lot of credit. They get a lot of credit they don't actually deserve, because they're a 12.7 liter engine and they're not doing the work that a 15 liter ISX is doing.
I got you. Yeah, I know, because I was just wondering, because I've got a 12.7 that I drive every day that's got 1.2 million on it, and it's pulled logs and grain its whole life. So it's always been, you know, 85 to 95,000 its whole life, and it's just now starting to use a little bit of oil, and it's got like 1.2 million on it.
Yep, but that's your 12.7. They're famous for it. So
yeah, and then I bought this International that had 300,000 miles, and I'm like, well, I got me a newer truck, a deal. Man, I'm good to go. And then hit 500,000 miles, just got blown by. I'm like, what the world?
I mean, just a myriad of reasons that could be happening, right? It's not because Cummins are necessarily junk. Now, we could go on all night about Cummins design and how it's not the greatest, right? But
yeah, man. This is my first Cummins in a semi truck. I love Cummins in my pickup. That's all I've ever had since I was last 20 years. So this is the first one outside of a big Cam 400 was the first truck I ever learned how to drive that my dad had.
Well,
this is the first like newer electronic Cummins I've ever had in a big truck.
Instead of putting your money into doing crazy shit, you know, when you overhaul it, put a good manifold and turbo, you know, intake and exhaust on it, and it'll do wonders for you.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. Well, I guess when I get ready to pull the plug, I'll probably be calling y'all to get a good kit.
Have a good night, man. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
Put it in the Smithsonian. I do this show just to read the comments. Some of these guys just crack me up. What's my thoughts on fuel additive and cetane boosters? Cetane boosters, guys, that's the real deal. If you have a product that's actually verifiably raising your cetane numbers, does that transfer to more horsepower and better fuel economy? 100%. 100%. Do any of the products on the market actually do that? Man, not many. Probably the best fuel additive, in my opinion, on the market right this minute is your power service in the gray bottle. You know, most bang for your buck. It's not expensive. It verifiably raises your cetane a couple of numbers, and it actually lubricates the fuel system. Those guys don't give me anything to say that or anything like that. I've never even talked to the people that make that, but that's probably the only one on the market that actually does what it says it does, and it's not expensive. That's my opinion. Gimmick stuff like Lucas's fuel additive, get the fuck out of here. How's junk. What a waste of money. None of those do anything for you. And then all your little one-shot bottles and your water removers. And you want a good water remover? Go get the red isopropyl, bottle that costs $3 and pour that in there if you want to get some real water removal. Hot Shots fuel additives is a waste of money. 100% agree with that. And I'm not suggesting anybody does any fuel additives, because you'd have a hard time convincing me that any fuel additive is going to pay itself back in cetane boost. Now, I used to use a lot of power service in Alaska, but I wasn't doing it to save money. I was doing it to pull that much harder when I'm trying to yank a freaking tanker 113,000 up an 18% grade. If I'm even have a chance to hold on to a half a gear and not have to drop one more half gear on a hill, it's worth $40 a trip in cetane boosters. Just is. Anyhow, back to the callers. No name, Acer front turbo getting hot. What can we do for you?
Hey, what's up? Hey, man, a quick question. I got a freshly rebuilt twin turbo. Things getting hot, pulling the hills. Got a 4-row radiator in it. I was hearing you talk about that black stuff coming out of the pipes once you started in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, maybe the numbers are too high, because when I broke it in, it did push 625 to the wheels.
Right.
And I've been having problems. It's the IVIS, delete, all that stuff, all the twin turbo stuff they do.
You still have the twins on it?
Yeah, I still have the twins.
And you rebuilt it with 17-to-1 pistons and put a 6 1/4 camshaft and 6 1/4 injectors in it?
Yeah, 6 1/4 injectors.
But you didn't answer my question. You put 17-to-1 piston crowns in it and a 6 1/4 camshaft?
No, it's stock camshaft. No, I did actually. Yep.
And it has 17-to-1 piston crowns in it, and it's been timed for with the 6 1/4 timing.
It hasn't been kind, but I don't think I have those 17. What'd you say? 17-1?
Yep, 17-to-1 piston crowns.
I'm not too sure about that.
So here's the problem. We talk about this all the time on the show. Is guys will go halfway with their build, and that's what you've done. And what the end result of this is a absolutely destroyed cylinder head. You're going to start going through cylinder heads nonstop. Maybe turbos, but man, those turbos on those Acers are just so damn bulletproof. If you had a regular single turbo on it, you already would have burnt it up probably. But that pre-cooler just really, do you still have the pre-cooler on there?
What's that?
Do you still have the pre-cooler on there?
So the pre-cooler broke on me like a week ago.
I bet.
So right now I canceled it. Yeah.
Yeah. So your pre-cooler,
that thing
your pre-cooler melted is what happened, and now you've exacerbated the problem dramatically by deleting it, and you're going to start going through heads like crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So not good.
What else can I do for you, brother?
So what do you think on? Do you guys do like tuning or something, or what should I do to bring those numbers back down, or the fuel numbers and stuff?
Well, you're kind of fucked, right? Because you're claiming you have 6 1/4 injectors in it. You put a 6 1/4 camshaft in it, but you have 550 piston crowns in it, and you have a 6 1/4 tune on it. So if you go put a 550 tune back on it, it's not going to match the timing to that camshaft or those injectors. So you have a really big problem there.
Oh, that's not good. All right. Well, I'm gonna check into that.
In your truck,
see what do I have exactly.
How's that work? We're doing a 17-1 for you. Yeah. How'd you end up with 18-1 with it? But it is a true 6 1/4? Yeah, the gentleman I got here in the office with me, he's got the same problem going on. It was built that way, but
oh yeah, this 18-1.
Mm-hmm. Big problem.
Oh, all kinds of bullshit.
All right, brother. Well, if you want my suggestion, here's my suggestion: put the right cam back in it, put the right injectors back in it, flash it with a 550, and go make money with it. That's my suggestion. Or rip it open and put the right pistons back in it and put that pre-cooler back on it.
Okay.
All right, brother.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, man.
Yep. Good luck.
Later.
You're going to need it. I have to try really hard not to be a smart ass all the time. I swear to God. Oh, because it's how much money did you have set aside when you bought your first semi? I was in a very fortunate position to get into trucking because my parents had 10 kids, 5 boys first. All 4 of my brothers were prolifically into trucking. My oldest brother had 50 some odd trucks running the Alaska Haul Road and a civil company as well. And he would use his trucks. He had like 30 side dumps and belly dumps and all that. And then my other brothers that were, I'm in the middle of those 5 brothers. My younger brothers and my brother that's just older than me, they all owned 3 or 4 trucks or 5 or 6 trucks themselves. And so, when I decided to finally get a truck and go trucking with them, I didn't worry too much about it because I had them around to help me, not financially, but, you just don't worry about it as much when your brother can come over and show you how to do a wheel seal and show you how to do your output seal and whatever, I really didn't worry about it until I blew up my first engine. Man, I've told that story many times, and then things got real for me after that. But are people really that stupid to upgrade the engine but only go halfway trying to save money? Well, Todd, I don't think it's to save money because we see it all the time. I really don't think it's to save money because it's mainly shops that are doing that kind of stuff. And it's not to save money. It's because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. That's what it is, in my opinion, because guys will pay $60,000 to have dumbass shit like this done for them, right? Where can you get the Hacknation oil? Same place you get all of our stuff, man. You call our line, and that's how we prefer to do it. We want to talk to you. We want to get to know you. We want to find out what you got going on and help you make the right decisions, not just sell you some dumb shit. So this guy's get back to the callers here in just a second, but this gentleman's asked me like 55 times to comment on the M11 Select Plus pros and cons. I actually have quite a bit of experience with the M11. I had 2 leasers that had them. We've rebuilt them numerous times. We've done a pile of M11s. And I feel the same way about the M11 as I do about the C12. or even the C13 if you want to get super technical. Great little engines. They last forever. Your M11's a lot like the N14. Very reliable engine, gets the job done, does the work, but I certainly wouldn't want to be the guy driving one. You want to talk about a very underwhelming engine. I hope you're pulling containers out of the port, because anything else you're going to do with that, you're going to be one miserable son of a bitch. That's pretty much it. Tell me about shops not knowing what they're doing. Well, you have an extremely recent experience with that. Right on. Cat C7, name Steven. Steven, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, bud. Yeah, so I got a, I guess, medium duty chassis C7. It's the wax cat.
Yep.
I guess, a little back history for it. About a year ago, my cam lifters failed. Those little tablet boxes on the side where it rolls. I know this is a little bit smaller motor than y'all do, but pulled the course 4 out, pulled the cam out, rebuilt all that stuff, did all the new rollers, lifters, new cam, bushings, all that stuff. After that, and I guess about a year before that, I did my injector cups and all that stuff. Anyway, I was driving it, and I got out, and I seen black oil hole down the side of my driver's side that's where my blow by tube comes out. So I went and washed it or checked the oil, stuff like that, and it was like 3 gallons over full. I'm like, okay. So drained the oil, got it all back right, started watching a little bit more. And after about 2,000, 3,000 miles, I was having about 1 gallon to 2 gallons of oil, fuel. I'm pretty sure, obviously, in the oil.
Oh,
no water mixture, stuff like that.
100%. It's diesel fuel.
So I pulled my Huey system. So I pulled my Huey pump off and replaced the fuel pump on the back of it. Thinking, well, I talked to an old cat mechanic. He said there's a fuel dye for it. So I pulled the filter off, put the fuel dye in it, let it run for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, pulled the valve cover. Didn't see any dye where the injectors would be leaking externally on top, like a cracked or busted injector. Runs like a top. So 30 miles an hour all day long, no overheat, no nothing. So I pulled the pump off the back of it, replaced it, put it back together. Thought it was fixed, let it run for idle all day and all that stuff. We're using it. I'm still having the issue. So about about 3,000 miles, I drain it, refill it, and go again.
What you're going to end up with is a destroyed engine, because diesel fuel is a way better solvent than oil is a lubricant. So here's how you figure.
Yeah, the oil's clean as whistle.
Here's how you figure it out. Okay, you go to any of your Napas, or you can get it off Amazon. You get the fuel dye, take the valve cover off, fill your fuel filter up with the fuel dye, put on the special glasses that they give you, well, you don't even need the glasses really, but you got to have the UV light, and start that thing up, and you will figure out immediately where it's coming from.
That's what I've done.
Okay, where is it coming from?
I don't know.
Then you got to do it again.
That's what I was saying. Like I did the fuel dye, and I couldn't find it in any of the, because like I said, the oil, they're supposed to be on that C7 Huey system. There's the way it's built, there's a O-ring or something inside the injector that will cause the fuel to start spraying out the top of the injector.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's not a high pressure fuel system. It's just high pressure oil.
Brother, the only way you could be getting fuel into your oil system is if it's coming up, not going down. You're not taking it and putting it on top of the piston and it's running down into the crankcase that way, because the engine will burn it.
Okay, that was gonna be my question. If If I needed to overhaul it, it's got 475,000 miles on it.
You need to do that fuel test again and again and again until you figure out where it's coming from. Or you need to take it to a shop that can figure it out.
Yeah. I don't want to do injectors because they're like $1,000 a piece for it. And
well,
I don't mind doing an overhaul on it. I've looked up, Interstate McBee has a kit for it.
Stop going directly to Cat for your injectors.
No, that's aftermarket. It was $1,000. Even aftermarket and Cat's still about $1,000 a piece. If you can find them cheaper, I would love to know. But at the same time, I done that test, and I didn't have anything coming out of the injectors, but I could see the dye in the oil still after a few thousand miles. So that's why I did that fuel pump on the back of the Huey pump.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Cat part from Cat, all that stuff, just because I didn't want to half-ass chance or get a chance of getting a wrong one. I had to send it back, get money back, and all that crap. So I've had bad parts from Cat. Like I said, so I don't know if I need to do the pump again or do the whole Huey system, put it on there.
Maybe
it comes with the fuel pump. It's $2,000.
Maybe, but since you were in the top end like that, I still think it's in the top end, and I think you need to do your fuel test again. You wouldn't be the first guy. I know a guy who looks just like me has done fuel tests and had to do it more than once because I couldn't find it the first time.
Okay.
It's got to be.
It's
got to be up top, brother. It's got to be.
I've had the truck. So you think it's blowing out the top where the oil sprays back returns?
And you know you got to run it for a little while, right? It doesn't happen immediately. You got to run it for a minute or two.
From what the guy told me and what I've read on doing the dye test was about 30 seconds to a minute. You're supposed to run it. If it's that bad, it'll show.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really.
And you're telling me
the valve cover takes about 5 minutes to take off. It's not a big deal.
Up there in the cylinder head, you didn't see any green dye at all after running it. Anywhere at all?
Not a drop. No, sir. All around the base of the injectors where it would be boiling up or bubbling, like a top O-ring would be blown. Well, but that would still have to go through the Huey.
Yep.
Old galley.
I would
get up.
I would try it again and then go after your pump. But I would be loath to go after the pump first.
Okay. So from your, I don't know how much of the C7 knowledge you have. I know I've been watching your stuff for the last couple of years, and I love it.
I've built them. I have videos of building them, but industrial ones. I've personally built them, so I'm very familiar with them.
I've looked on y'all's channel and I couldn't ever find anything on the C7.
You'd have to go all the way back to when we were in North Dakota. But long story, I did some for oil and gas pumps, water pumps.
Yes, sir.
Long story short,
is there any way for the head to be cracked?
Yeah, but not mixing oil and diesel fuel.
Okay, that's what I thought too.
If you were getting fuel in your coolant, then I would say yes, but that's not the case. So basically, no.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was leaning to. Was the injectors or that little small fuel pump failed again, or just got a bad one?
I don't know, brother. I would do the fuel dye test again and then go after the pump, just because the pump's expensive.
Okay.
The fuel dye is cheap.
Yeah.
Right? All right, brother. Well, good luck.
Yes.
Let us know what you ever figured out.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. To the guy in the comment section telling me to shut the fuck up, I don't know what I'm talking about, and they need to call a real mechanic. You do know that the comment section we rely on for real mechanics like yourself to help us solve problems, right? So instead of being a piece of shit, show us how you're a real mechanic and help us out. Heavy Haul Nation, you're throwing another shop under the bus. And you're making it sound like I built your engine, which I didn't, right? Another shop built your engine and they put the wrong bearings in it. We sent them the right bearings. They fixed it up. Don't throw shops under the bus on here, man. Come on. Don't do that. I know you're frustrated and there's nothing wrong with being frustrated. That shop needs to, come to they got your truck going. You got delayed a couple days. They got the right ones in there. But come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, I could spend every show on here talking shit about other shops, right? You got to think everybody that comes here just about has some fucking horror story about how they got screwed over by somebody. It's everybody in this industry, right? And I could make a whole page and video day after day of just telling you about shitty shops, but that doesn't edify any of us, and those guys, I worked hand in hand with those guys. I helped them figure out the problem with your engine. In fact, if you remember, I knew as soon as you told me what was going on, I knew instantly what was going on. But here's the point is, how did I know exactly what problem they were having? Because I've fucking done it, right? I know what they did wrong because I've done it too. So how, I certainly can't throw mud at them. I knew what their problem was because I've done it more than once. In fact, we have a policy here where every crank every time has to be plastic gauged because we've done it too many times. We've done it, more than I can count on one hand, which, you're right. One time is too many times, right? So it became such a, because I'm a shitty mechanic. Exactly. So I know how to identify the shitty mechanics from a mile away. I am one. But we have policies in place here that help mitigate most of that, and we had to learn the hard way on all of it. Just is what it is. Anyway, we got callers stacked to the moon. We're already at the half hour. Caller number 24. We're going to call our last caller. 25 rather. Sorry, or we're never going to get out of here. Let me write that down. I always forget them. Caller number 25 is our last caller. Because there's 9 people on hold. Guys, I'm not going to take any more calls here. Guys that are on hold, thank you for holding. We're going to get to you right now. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hello?
Yes, sir. What can we do for you?
Hello? Oh, no, I got a quick question. I was just listening to the show, and I got the same problem with those EGTs with my turbos and everything, but I put a C18 on a truck and take those swings off and put a 142 with an 80, and it still get hot with a tune for 625, 6.25, I think it is. It does still get a little hot in those things. What I can do in there? Just go back to or put a compounds on it, or I'm just fucked right there. This is a true C18. It's not. It's a true C18. It came out of the prototype train or whatever that thing was, and has a bigger flywheel housing. So I got to change everything from the other motor to this one. It's the JW. Is the true C18.
You may have a true C18.
It's a little rough.
You're right.
Yeah,
I don't doubt it's a little rough because most likely started out its life as an industrial engine, and you have had somebody put some kind of tune on that thing that doesn't belong on it. That's probably the number one problem. Number two problem.
Well, I did the tune on it.
So I still think my comments are probably valid. No offense, but
yeah. No.
So the other thing here is your 80 millimeter turbo. Just because you have a C18 doesn't mean it can push an 80 millimeter turbo.
So that 78 will be better option for this one. I mean,
I bet you
it gets hot in the hide.
I bet you if you drop the turbo size one size, that your EGTs would come down quite a bit.
Yeah, but I was wondering if he is normal for that one. I never have this kind of problem, but I don't know if he is normal because when I move oil field equipment, buddy. I move rigs, so I'm always the ponds weigh 140,000 plus the truck and trailer. I pull a 5-axis stretch.
Brother, I moved rigs. In fact, I did a 3-month stretch of moving rigs around the clock. Most money I've ever made. And my average load was about 138, and they went up to 158. And I did it all with the 550 BXS Acer.
Oh yeah. So yeah, but what I'm saying is like, sometimes I pull a wheel package too, with a 5.2, and the tractor's a tri-drive tractor. And I think, I don't know, for me, it seems like it's a little normal because when I'm pulling and I'm really getting on it, it gets to 12. But if I let the throttle out, it comes down to, 9, 10. And if you are driving normal, like, it stays around 10, 9. So I just wondered if, I mean, when it was, I didn't have I do have another one, and that one has a compound turbo. That motherfucker only gets to 6. And I'm fucking sending it. It's a 550, everything stock on it.
That's the thing I love about compound turbos. But if you if you drop that turbo size, it might cool it off quite a bit. But the numbers you're telling me aren't that alarming anyway. Don't think I'd worry about it.
Yeah, I was just, I know you probably think this fucking fella, crazy about calling about that things, but just normal stuff on it. And so when you drop it, I do my own motors and everything. So I'm gonna do another one. I have another Acer sitting around, and I want to do the single turbo on it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a buddy of mine, he's supposed to be a mechanic, and I told him I was gonna drop the 16-1. And he told me, he's like, oh no, you're gonna fuck it up like that. If you stay 18-1, I think those ones come 18-1, right?
Well, if you're gonna single turbo it and change the tuning, then you need to go 16-1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying the MXS, it comes with an 18-1, right? It's what it comes factory.
Yes.
Okay. So it's what I was told him. I'm gonna change it to single turbo. Because it's a lot easier, just to change the parts, the cooler, the oil cooler, and all that stuff is a lot easier to change when you only have one turbo. When you have two, it's a bunch of shit in the way, So I was just saying, and he's like, no, if you keep it 18-1, it's a lot easier when it's the cold weather, in the cold, it's a lot easy.
That's nonsense.
And that's what I was thinking. But, he's the real mechanic is what he does. Other question that I have for you, just real quick. I don't waste too much of your time. I mean, he always tell me I'm building another motor right now. Actually, I bought a part from you guys, and this truck they build it in Canada. They build the motor in Canada, and when I take the liners out and everything, I didn't check the liner protrusion on it. When I clean it up and everything, put my liners on and put the shims, they have a 30,000 shims on it. So when I set the liners on it and everything, it was 8,000. Some are 7 something, 8,000. And the truck lasts me, I don't know, around 5 years, 6 years with the same motor. And I was thinking, I think 8,000 in the liner protrusion, that's too high, huh?
Yeah, you're lucky you didn't crack the flanges.
Yeah, so I'm going down to 5 or 6, but the same guy I was telling you about, he told me, because I was talking to him, and he's supposed to be he worked for Peterborough before, whatever.
It sounds like a dumb.
And he was telling me, yeah, I know. And I thought, but, he told me, oh, just put it at 7. If you want more horsepower, at 7, keep it at 7. I said, man, the cat spec is 6, I think 4 to 6 or 3.5 or 6. I said, what I want to put it like that is like, no, if you want a horsepower, you want to put more horsepower on it, just go to 7.
All you're doing is reducing the clamping power on your head gasket. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, guys like that don't give a fuck if you ruin your engine, so don't listen to them.
Yeah. Well, he got his own trucks too, and he got a lot of problems with the head gaskets and heads and fucking blowing this and that.
Well, there you
and
go.
I know
That's the guy you don't want to take his advice. Anyway, brother, I got a lot of guys waiting on hold here, so.
No, yeah, sounds good. I appreciate everything, man. Thank you very much, and yeah, that's what I do.
Yep, have a good night, man.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Bye-bye.
I did all my rig hauls in Alaska on the ice roads, actually up in Prudhoe Bay. That was the coolest job ever, man. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been on an ice road, but flatter than a pancake. And they build them wider and shit because they take whole rigs out on them, you know. So it's like a 4-lane highway. There's never any traffic on them. You're only supposed to do 30 miles an hour. I may have pushed that, doubled it maybe a few times. You get that 150,000 pounds moving on that ice road. Most of them are pretty straight though, and that's the most money I've ever made in my life. That was awesome, absolutely awesome. But I see a lot of guys saying they hauled rigs around Newtown and in the back end, but I hauled a lot of rig mats in the back end. But anyway, let's get back to the callers. We got 8 callers left and only 20 minutes to get them done. So here we go. Robert, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, bud, I just got a quick question for you. I've got a shop in far northwestern corner of Montana. We do a lot of hydraulic repair and engine building. I'd call your shop, but I'm usually pretty busy during the day. On your engine kits, are you guys requiring people to buy like 5 or 6 kits at a time to store them in their shop, or is it possible just to buy, 1 or 2 specific kits that we know we're going to need for sure?
You mean to be a dealer?
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to call. My son sets all that up. I know we got dealers all over the place now. I think they're pretty. I mean, they work with everybody, right? I'm not sure exactly how they have it set up, but they don't bend you over. I know that they're gonna do. They got some kind of system. So you just have to call the call
because it's one of those things.
If you call the call center and say you're looking, you're looking for the dealer side, they'll get you over there.
Okay. Because it's one of those things we don't do a whole lot of engines up here where we're at. We might do 1 a month, if not every other month. And I never know what the next engine is that's going to come in, but
sure.
We've got a handful of engines that are common in our area. And we're not doing any like big horsepower builds or anything. We try to keep engines at OEM spec as far as horsepower and everything, just for the longevity, because this is a vocational area. So, I mean, vocational trucks don't live long anyhow. It doesn't seem like anyhow they're treated.
I should 100% know the answer to your question there. I just don't, because I'm always out doing product development and building engines and do it, and my sons run that whole side of everything. But I know if you call down there, they will take care of you right away. We have 10 people working down there that do nothing but answer the phones, and one of my sons, the only job he does there is talk to dealers and get them set up.
Okay, and one last quick question for you. When you do your coating on your bearings, are you taking the babbitt off and then coating them, or are you just putting the coating on top of the babbitt?
Oh, no, we take it off.
You take it off?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's actually got a metal binding to it, a tooth to it, instead of just going over another coating.
So we take, I'll just kind of tell you, you're talking about for bearings?
Yeah, for like the mains and rods.
Yeah, so for the mains and rods, they go into a high pressure. They get hit with extremely high pressure nano-sized aluminum oxide. It looks like baby powder. The biggest, messiest stuff you've ever seen. But that you would basically, and you'll see it peel the factory coating off, but it doesn't look like you've actually done anything to the bearing, because you would have to use like a magnifying glass or a microscope to see that we've actually textured the surface. And then we take titanium disulfide and hit it the same type of method, and it's hit at, super high pressure, and it adheres to about 0.4 thousandths. And once it adheres to a certain point, it can't adhere to itself, right? So it bonds to it molecularly.
Okay, so you're keeping your clearance.
The clearance is going to be, if you were to notice any clearance change at all, it's inside the margin of error. So it'd be impossible for you to even tell. And every kit we send out comes with plastic gauge because we want people to check, but we already know.
And we use that. Yeah, we use that anyhow in our shop just because I don't want things coming back. It's a small community, and I've got a really good name for myself up here, and I'd like to keep it that way. So
yeah, our kits come with it in the kit. We encourage everyone to use it.
Okay.
Then you don't end up with the wrong side.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. It's real cheap insurance. So.
Oh, it really is.
All right. Well, that's.
Anyway,
well, that's all the questions I had for you, man. I know you got a lot of people waiting, so
yeah, we have to remove all. It's quite the process. Like the piston crowns, we have to. Those get high pressured. First of all, they go in an acid bath because there cannot be any kind of anything on them, and then from there we hit them with number 100 aluminum oxide, and we peel everything from the factory off of them, and then we lay the ceramic on.
So it's actually biting into the metal itself.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then
less chance of peeling.
Yeah, and then we and again, the ceramic will not adhere to itself, so we can only put so much on, and we test them all with the micrometer that the electronic ones. And
yeah,
if so, they have to meet a certain criteria, and any fallout has to go back through the process again, because it will not bind to itself. It's all kind of a process that we just had to learn as we went, but we got it now. We've been pumping them out.
Well, you're way into the more scientific stuff than I ever got into, so I know a little bit about it, but not an extreme amount. So
yeah, it's all pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do a little bit of research on tungsten disulfide, and see how much it's actually used in our industry that people don't even realize, especially in gears. And we're going to start doing gears with it as well here in the near future. We're going to test out a couple
for the
gear,
for the tooth loading.
Yep, gear train in the front and all that.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Anyway.
Alrighty, well, I thank you so very much. I know I'll talk to you later on.
Yep, have a good night, man.
You too. Bye.
Well, we lost 3 callers and gained 4. How do we approach that? All right, here we go. You're on the air. What can we do for you? Hello.
What's going on, man?
No, not much.
Yeah, I got 3 quick questions. So I got a B model, right? First question, I don't know if this is normal. My water temps is at 180. My oil temp is at 150. I'm hearing folks say that the oil temp is supposed to be higher than the water temp.
Your oil
is that true?
Your oil temperature is higher than your coolant temperature, despite what your gauge is telling you.
Oh, okay.
It's
okay.
literally impossible. Excuse me. It's impossible for what you're telling me to be actually the truth. I'm not saying you're lying to me. Your gauge is lying to you.
Right. Okay. All right. Because I was about my next step was to get an infrared gun, hit the pan, and hit the oil cooler also, and just see what kind of readings I get from there. But like you said, I'm gonna try a different gauge.
You can pretty much know in advance that your oil is around is within 20 degrees of your coolant, and that's going to be 20 degrees hotter. Could only be about 10 degrees different, but it's definitely hotter. Your coolant is cooling your oil.
Okay. All right. All right. Clear that up. All right. Second question. Radiator cap. I have a 7-pound on there. Is that good, or should I go up to like a 10?
Are you having any problems?
Not really. Sometimes when I'm sitting at idle, it would shoot up to like 205. And I know you have said in the past, you know, that's good temperature. That's good water temperature, you know, for the engine to like burn carbon and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it. The fan will come on maybe at 210, but you know, it's just abnormal for me to see it going up to like 205 around there. So I was just wondering if I should change the cap.
I mean, you're not telling me about a problem you're having, so I'd say no. Those are not problems.
Okay. Okay. All right. Last question. Oil analysis. Where is like a reputable place that I can get my oil checked? You know, like for any kind of, you know, dilution or anything like that.
We made a deal last week for oil analysis because we're going to provide them with every one of our filters. If you buy a filter from us, it comes with an oil analysis kit. So I'm sure you can call the call center and they'll sell you an oil analysis kit. I don't know if that was our plan, was to sell oil analysis kits by themselves, but I don't know why we wouldn't. We made the deal so we could give them with our filters because we want to remove from the end user having to do any thinking at all. You know what I mean? So otherwise, you know, you could go on Amazon and find them and whatnot, but you know, you can get them from us as well.
Okay. All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yep. Have a good night, man.
All right. You too.
Yeah. What Glenn's trying to tell you there, Heavy Haul, is what we're talking about with tungsten disulfide is not a coating. It's an impregnation. And no, you will not take it off with gears. It's pretty crazy when we put it on our bearings. After we're done putting it on our bearings, we clean them with brake clean. We clean them with acetone. We wipe them. We make them all look really nice. And you cannot take that stuff off. Same thing with the gears. It doesn't come off once it goes on. It becomes part of the metallurgy. It's really crazy, but and it's, you know, if you've never seen anything like it, it is kind of hard to believe. But when you're doing that process, the tungsten disulfide literally becomes part of the metallurgy of the product you're putting it on. It's pretty cool. That's why it works in our oil as well. That is our secret sauce in our oil our oil additive package is the tungsten disulfide. We're putting it in there, and the more stress that the parts have, the hotter they get, the more tungsten disulfide will cling to the metal parts because of just the properties of tungsten disulfide. That's the way it works. It's really cool. N14 problems. What can we do for you, brother?
So, a boost issue. I lost the original motor. It was an N14 as well. And I'll start at the front. What's going on right now? So it's slow to build boost, and when you're jaking down a hill, a pass, it doesn't really even build boost. It'll sit at like 6 pounds. And it might slowly build up to 10 pounds. But if you're into a climb and build your boost up, 12.5, 15, 18, 20, it'll hold once you drop off the other side. Yeah, I'm just confuddled with it.
Well, I mean, you kind of already answered your question. You're having a boost issue, right? So
okay, right.
So you have to walk that one backwards. You're either you have a boost leak, the air-to-air is no good, the boots are no good. You know, have you done an air-to-air test? If you haven't, then
I'm
that's where you're
working on getting into a shop for it. Yeah.
Okay, so you got to start there. The other thing that could be causing your problem, and it almost sounds like I would almost lean this way because you're having a set spot where it will hold, is you could have a D-rate problem, right? A boost pressure sensor or an intake air temp sensor or something like that. Again, you need to get into a shop where they can hook up to it with a computer and tell you, they should be able to figure out what's going on. If it's electrical, they should be able to tell you right away. If it's not, then it's mechanical, and that's pretty simple.
Okay.
You got a boost leak, or your turbo fins are completely fucked up, or something. You got something pretty simple going on, brother. But running it like that's not good at all.
Okay. Okay. So it was a majored. They just a quick little background here. So what I was told, it was the 5 1/4, the Select Plus. They had built it for a 550. They put a bigger turbo on it, and I picked it up. It was a semi-local builder. Put it in and running it. Well, you look at the tag, and it's actually a Select that's a 460. And I've watched a couple of your videos that, you've said it, you can build a Select into a Select Plus, but there's some shit entailed to it to get it there. So, I think there was maybe some funky stuff done. And it's been this way. I've got close to 100,000 miles on it, and on top of that, I run T4, and it's been burning 2 gallons of oil.
Well, Jesus, that could be part of your boost problem. It's all going in the crankcase.
Right. Okay.
Did it ever? Yeah, that's a really good question. That heavy Clark or Henry Clark, whatever. I can't really read it from here. He said, "Did it ever run right?" That's a really good question. Did it ever run right after you got it back from these guys, or has it always done this?
The other one, I just exchanged the other one. There was metal throughout the other one. Right. It was at,
but this
it was at 1.5 million, but it rang.
No. I don't care about the engine you got rid of. The engine that you have right now, has it ever run right, or has it always been like this?
It's always been like this.
Okay, so you need somebody to figure out what's going on with the tuning there, and your turbo is probably way too damn big.
Okay, that was one of my thoughts, and a boost leak. Okay,
probably not a boost leak.
So no. Okay, so should I go switch it out to like a stock turbo?
Yeah, and
for the M14,
and maybe have somebody look at the tuning. Your static timing might be way different than what's the tuning that's on the damn ECM. You might have a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
You might be burning way over into the exhaust stroke.
Okay, because I had to get a new ECM, and they flashed it for 550, but it's a 460, with a big turbo on it.
Right. And there really isn't such a thing, right? So they did something stupid.
Mm-hmm. That was my thought too.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, brother. Good luck.
Okay, I will look into those things. I appreciate it. Thank you, Aaron.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
I mean, 90% of the people that call Their engine is fucked. And this goes back to the guy that said a little bit ago, you know, he kind of blamed it on the end user, and it's not the end user fucking all these engines up, and it's not to save money. That's what he implied. It's the shops not knowing what they're doing, and just yeah, it's pretty fucked up. All right. I got Wrench in the 907 in the house. How you doing, buddy? I watched your videos, your last couple videos on that 60 series build. I actually made it through that last one you posted. It was like a 10-minute video, but I was pretty enthralled. Good video, man. Good video. All right, you're on the air, Omar Henry. What can we do for you? Hello, you're on the air. Did you die on me? Hello.
Yeah, you're me not here. Hello.
Yeah, man, it's you. What can we do for you?
Hello.
I about gave up on you there. Hello.
Yeah, I have a C15 assert. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here, man. I'm waiting for you to tell me what you got going on. Let's do this.
Yeah, I have a C15 assert, but when it go on boots, like it boot.
Are you in Jamaica, brother?
Yes, I'm in Jamaica.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Let's go. Let's try one more time. What do you got going on?
Yeah, the assert C15. When it's boots, when it go on boots to 45, it just go right back to 30 and no more boots from there.
Yep. Okay. So, is it throwing any codes?
No, no code.
Is everything stock like it came from the factory?
Yes.
Including the exhaust system?
No, street pipe.
Okay, so that eliminates quite a few things it could be. So if it's boosting you up to 40, then it automatically cuts you down to 30. That's a D-rate problem.
Yes.
So are you throwing? You're not throwing a check engine light?
No, no check engine light.
Okay. Have you hooked it up to a computer and seen if the computer's logging a fault code of some kind? Because they'll do that without throwing a check engine light.
No.
Okay.
Like when it cold, it work. When it cold, it work perfect. But when it warm up, it just gone.
Okay. So you're making it sound like your intake air temp sensor, right? So your intake air temp sensor and your boost pressure gauge will both cause you to have this issue, and they won't throw a code.
Okay.
So if it doesn't do this when it's cold and only does it when it's hot, it's most likely one of those two sensors. I would just change them both, and you got a really good chance of that curing this problem.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, brother.
So where find those sensors?
Which are we sensor?
No, it's the boot sensor and the temperature.
I've never been to Jamaica, but you guys have Peterbilt, Kenworth, Cat, anything like that there?
Kenworth.
Yeah, the Kenworth can get them for you.
Which two sensors?
The intake air temp sensor and the boost pressure sensor.
The intake. Okay. All right.
Intake air and boost pressure.
Yeah.
Yep. And we just figured out we can ship to Jamaica. We sold a whole bunch of kits to Jamaica last week.
Okay.
Yo, hang on, buddy, man.
Oh, hang on.
And we sold a kit to a guy in Hawaii today. We got it figured out, brother. We're going all over the place.
Yeah.
The only place we haven't nailed down is Australia. But we will, because Australians reach out to us probably more than anybody. Anyway, good luck with that one, brother.
Yeah, so you can order it for me then. And
I mean, something like that, man. You want to go to your local Kenworth, 100%. They're going to get it for you the fastest.
All right. Okay then.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye. We're officially past the show, but I'll take a couple more callers. Why not? You're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey, Hack.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. I got a quick question on oil bypass. So I've seen a couple videos, and the guys that are talking about the oil port, they're talking about the port on the back of the oil cooler.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at the oil cooler, and there's a port on the back of the oil cooler and another port on the oil filter housing.
Mm-hmm.
So are these guys really talking about the oil cooler?
I mean,
Series 60 12.
I would have to look exactly where they're talking about, but most oil coolers do have a spot where you can pull pressurized oil from it. Right, your safest bet's right into the oil rifle. If you're not certain, you can go right into the oil rifle. You know, any of those spots will be fine.
Okay, and by oil rifle, you're talking about the oil manifold for the filter.
No, I'm talking about down the passenger side of your engine, your plugs below your turbo. That's your oil rifle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just worried about pulling that plug in case something breaks.
Well, sure, but then you could not have a bypass filter.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you think that's the place to go is along the side of the block?
I mean, because I can't identify exactly where you're asking me on the oil cooler system, right? So I'm going to default to the sure thing. I'm not telling you that the cooler's not a better spot. I'm here on the phone. You know, we're sitting here on this little live show here, and I'm giving you a suggestion for the spot I know is fail proof. So, where would I put the oil cooler? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you had a plug on the oil cooler and one just below it on the oil filter housing,
you got to return.
Would you try that? Would you try the filter housing?
I can't remember, man. And we just had our guys here.
Okay.
And we went through a Detroit and a Cat and the Cummins because we're fixing all of our fittings where you can just hook them right up, and we're making them way more user friendly. But I don't even remember what we figured out on the Detroit because I wasn't standing there when they did that one. I helped them with the Cat and then wandered off and let the boys help them with the other ones. So,
all right. Well, maybe I'll pull the plug and start it and see what happens.
Story of my life. Pull the
plug.
If it
squirts up.
All right, brother.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yep. Bye. I mean, and that's the thing. Just pull the plug, and what's the worst that can happen? You put the plug back in. It's really not that big of a deal. Yeah, the Australians, we probably get 10 inquiries a week for Australia and New Zealand, but mainly Australia. If we can figure out how to get our kits to Australia, we're gonna do good. I mean, they get fucked over there. You think Canadians have it bad? You think Hawaiians have it bad? Talk to an Australian, man. Those guys get bent over a barrel. It's crazy. Chris, you're on the air, man. Thanks for waiting. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron. How you doing?
Good, man. What can we do for you?
Hey, I want to ask your opinion on something. So I know you mess with a lot of cats. You've been building cats for years. I own a small trucking company here in Southeast Wisconsin, and primarily we run cats in our trucks. And I rebuild the engines in them. Obviously, we don't go through a lot of them. It's just maybe once a year or twice a year I'll get into one. And I've used kits. I have not used one of your kits yet. But what I'm asking is, on the spacer plate gasket, on pretty much any of the 3406 C15 models, do you have any tips or tricks you've used or done over the years to just prevent that slight seepage you get? Now, I'm not talking about after it's new and you do it. I'm talking 300,000 or 400,000 miles down, even with a fresh block, brand new head. Sorry, go ahead.
Brother, we've been building engines commercially, so to speak, for more than 7 years now. And we literally have thousands of cats at this point that are running around with our name on it. Just in the last 3 years, we're like, 1,400 cats, right? Or 1,400 engines, and hundreds of those are cats, right? So, you gotta, and what I'm getting at here is we don't have a cat engine on the road that has that problem. I have never built a cat, even ones that are 7 or 8 years old, that have that problem. So yes, I do know the solution to that problem. If you bought a kit from us, it comes with the solution to that problem and a pamphlet telling you how to apply it. It's aviation paste made by Permatex. Take the aviation paste, put it on both sides of that thin spacer plate, not your big spacer plate, the shim gasket. Put it on both sides, put it on like you normally would, put your spacer plate on top of that, and you will have a weep-free cat for the rest of your life. Facts.
No, hey, and I appreciate that. I, for a while, and have had good luck with it, we actually used to put copper gasket sealant, like you have it in the spray
It don't do
on
shit.
that thin sheet back in the day.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right.
It doesn't do shit.
Okay. Well, fair enough. And then in your kit, so I've ran into this problem where I don't do it anymore, but the last cat I built, I put an Interstate McBee spacer plate on it. I got it from Interstate McBee, I guess what I'm saying. I have gotten cat spacer plates before where I order them through cat. I understand they're probably not cat manufactured. They sub them out and use another manufacturer. But those spacer plates I've got from cat, if you mic them across, are almost out of spec if you use the cat specs from cat.
Right.
But I've had better luck with the Interstate McBee ones being more true, I guess is what I'm saying. Does the plates you use in your kit?
I use Interstate McBee because nobody makes a better one. Yeah, a close second would be PAIs. So there's some on the market that are just absolute not worth the money. AFA, we recalled so many AFA ones. I sent them back, probably 10 of them. They're so far off. It's a big deal. That spacer plate's a big deal. Somebody's saying I've never used IPDs, but it's not like IPD makes them. I don't know who's making them for them. Probably PAI, if I was going to guess. PAI makes a good one. Interstate McBee. Here's the thing with Interstate McBee. If you want to be as close as you can possibly fucking get to the OEM, you're going to use Interstate McBee. That's their kit, their injectors, their cams. It doesn't matter. If you want to push the envelope of cutting edge, you're going to go with PAI. But if you want to roll back on your haunches and say, I just went as close to the OEM spec as I could possibly get, it's going to be Interstate McBee. Nobody puts more time and effort into mirroring the OEM than them.
I agree with that. And it sounds right, because that's kind of what I found when we ordered the Interstate McBee one, got it in, and it was spot on. I was more than happy with it. So I'm glad we're kind of on the same page with that. I agree.
Maybe just use OEM. No, thank you. You can. Sorry, I was commenting to a commenter, but all right, brother. Well, that's how you solve that weepage problem. You don't want it. You don't want that problem. Use the aviation paste. I saw some guys commenting that, like stressing that you need to put it on there lightly. That's actually not the case. You could drench that thing in that shellac and it will squeeze out and it makes a pretty big mess down the side of your engine, but there's no negative connotations from putting too much on. So don't overthink it. The biggest problem you'll have with putting too much on is you'll have drips all over the side of your engine, and it's kind of a mess. And so that would be the reason I would encourage you to not go too crazy with it, but you can't hurt anything by putting too much on.
Okay, cool, fair enough. And then you got other callers, so I appreciate you, John.
Yep, have a good night, man. Good luck. All right. I might as well take the last of these callers. If you call now, though, I'm going to hang up on you. I'm just saying. We got 3 more guys. They've all been hanging on. So we'll go ahead and take them here. Anthony, what can we do for you, brother? Hit me with it quick, please.
Yeah. How you doing this morning, tonight? I got a problem with my antifreeze leaking on the right side. I had a EGR cooler put in. Then it was still leaking. I took it to Cummins. They said it need an oil cooler. Now they put that in. It's still leaking. It's pressure coming out the radiator when I take the cap off.
How did we decide you needed a fucking oil? Sorry. How did we decide you needed an oil cooler? Based on the
Cummins told me I needed an oil cooler. After the first people fixed it, then I took it to Cummins, figured that's their motor. I got IXS. And then Cummins said, well, it ain't the oil cooler. The EGR is the oil cooler. So they took all that off for the oil cooler and it's still leaking.
Yeah, but you're pressuring up your cooling system. That doesn't jive. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't go together. So let's take all this other stuff off the table and let me ask you a couple of quick questions. How long have you been pressuring up the cooling system?
For a year now.
A year now.
I've spent 10,000 and
okay,
it's
so just hear me out here, brother. I'm trying to help you narrow it down. Is there been any time in the last 2 years where you had to add coolant to it for any reason at all?
Yes.
Yeah, what happened?
When I found out it was leaking.
Okay, where was it leaking from?
Well, it was leaking. It was leaking from the right side, and that's when I got it checked out first. And they said it needed an oil cooler.
Okay, what's the most coolant?
I put an oil cooler, manifold, everything.
But what's the most coolant you had to add back to it?
I've been putting in lately 3 gallons a week.
Yeah, your head's no good, brother. The head's burnt up.
Oh, okay. That's where the pressure coming from too. When I take the oil cap off.
Your head's no good, brother.
I mean, not the oil cap. Yeah, I mean the antifreeze.
Yep. These problems are your head. Could be a dropped liner, like somebody just said, but I seriously doubt it. And it might be a combination of the two, but your cylinder head's definitely bad.
Okay, so I should get it rebuilt and just put another head on it.
Well, so what I would do is I would go into it planning on just doing the head, and then you'll know when you open it up. And this is a part of what's so shitty about our industry is most places are going to tell you need to rebuild it whether you need to or not. That's the shitty part. So maybe you should plan to rebuild it, but hopefully find some trustworthy place. And how many miles are on it?
Well, I got 1 million miles on it.
Oh, yeah, you should rebuild it because you're paying for a little bit more than half the job to do the head.
Okay, can you rebuild it for me, or I got to take it somewhere else?
You can call the call center and they can give you all the options. We have a lot of options we can do for you. Okay. And if it doesn't work for you, then
Okay.
they can refer you to places that will help you, that won't rip you off.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. Good luck with whatever you do, though. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye. Okay. Guys that are still calling, sorry to drop you, but I do have to leave someday. And I got to do this. Y'all drove me to it. Now I feel better about life. All right. You're on the air, brother. Something about fuel added. What can we do for you?
Yeah, Aaron, I've talked to you a few times about bypass filtration,
Mm-hmm.
but we have got a fuel additive that does everything that you said it should, and we treat about 400 million liters of fuel around the world a year. We treat lots of big trucking companies, and we treat big mining and construction companies, cruise ships, even the military. It has a water disperser in it, an ejector cleaner, a lubricator, a polymerized retardant to keep fuel from going back, because diesel fuel starts to go back. When you see that black stuff in fuel filters, that's actually black crude going back to, or diesel fuel going to black crude.
So here's what I'll tell you, brother. I have guys coming in next week, and we're gonna be busting our ass to set up my engine dyno. We're anxious to get it up and running. I've owned it for almost a year. We're finally in a facility where we can get it up and running, and we're gonna be testing. My engine dyno also comes with all the fuel testing. Like, we'll tell you what kind of fuel mileage and everything you're getting. And we fully intend to test different fuel additives. If you'd like to have us test your additive, then you give us a call, okay?
All right, I'll give you a call. One thing that you find, the older engines get better mileage because it slowly cleans all the carbon off the cylinders.
Yeah.
So if you pull a head off of one engine that's run our product, it's because carbon holds fuel.
Sure. I'll just, I don't have any way of being other than blunt, but I don't believe that is actually a thing. You can only burn carbon off by burning it. A fuel additive is not going to burn carbon.
I can burn carbon off. I can show you pictures that'll burn the carbon off because we're burning all the available BTUs. I've got hundreds of pictures on my big mining equipment.
Yeah, I got
on over-the-road trucks.
There's
pickup trucks.
There's some friends of mine that want me to test a fuel additive that's actually not even a fuel additive. It just changes the molecular compound of the existing fuel that you have that makes it burn extremely better. So we're excited to test out a lot of stuff. So if you want to get hooked up with
our
us,
product.
Man,
I'll call you. Our product treats 1 ounce to 80 gallons.
Right.
And it's very, very efficient.
Which just makes me not trust it even more, to be honest with you. But you never know until you test it, right?
Well, that's what you have to do. You have to see what it does.
Yep.
All
right, brother.
I understand. I've had, people all around the world say it, until they use it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just had I don't know if you know.
I know where you're coming from, man. I'm in the position of trying to convince people to, we're in an industry where maintenance sets a shitty owner operator apart from a good one, right? And then I'm going to these same owner operators and saying, hey, man, run my system and never change your oil for 1 million miles and you'll get better results. That's a hard sell. That's a hard sell when
And I guarantee you.
Well, I mean, don't guarantee me shit. Let's talk about me testing it for you. All right, brother?
Well, you're saying try to run your oil 1 million miles. It will work with a bypass filter. I put bypass filters on since 1995.
I know it will.
So you're right. And it'll give them better fuel economy and save them a lot of money.
It will.
I know.
But anyway, all right, brother. Hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time.
Yep.
I will try to call you and we can talk.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye. But I don't think he gets where I'm going with that. You know, what is the measure of a good owner operator? A guy that does regular maintenance, right? Of course, that's how all of us in this industry judge whether this guy is a top-notch owner operator or not. Does he get under there? Does he grease his truck? Does he shake in the drive line? Is he changing the oil? Right? Of course. And then along comes a blowhard like myself and says, "Hey, man, I reinvented the wheel. Let's take this thing to 1,000,000 miles, and you don't do any more maintenance to it." It's a hard fucking sell. It's a hard sell, and I don't wonder why. You know, that's also why we're providing oil analysis with our filters. It's a long-term investment because we're going to be able to show people, look at all these oil samples that we have. So anyway, got one more caller. We'll take him. We'll check out the comment sections, and then we'll pretend like we have a life outside of the studio. All right, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I got a pack car engine. Had a few coolant leaks. Ended up changing the reservoir and a couple little hoses. But I did an oil analysis recently, and it's come back with high levels of potassium and something else in there. But anyway, I was just trying to run down this problem with this coolant thing, and it seems like it might be internal since it's coming back now with the oil analysis. So,
are you showing coolant in the oil
didn't know
analysis?
what your thoughts might be on that.
Are you showing coolant in the oil analysis?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
No.
I did it through Blackstone, and they're saying it had high levels of potassium and sodium.
Oh, that's not good, brother. I mean,
but it's saying that the wear is low on it.
Sure.
So
Where
coolant hasn't caused any trouble. So
right, but you most likely have some kind of liner issue going on that's just getting started. I'm scanning the comment section to see. Yeah, typical Packard dropped liner or cracked head. Slight chance it's a bad compressor. The limited amount of experience I have with the Packars is you're having a liner issue. The liner has dropped and compromised the O-rings.
Now, I will say too, I have had a lot of air compressor, blowing hoses, and I've been fixing on this thing for a while. So, like I said, I'm no mechanic, but
blowing which kind of hoses? Coolant?
The main hose that comes from the
air
compressor.
hoses.
No, well, air hoses. Air hoses I've blown, and I've been blowing
totally
coolant hoses too.
And coolant hoses. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And you're blowing coolant hoses that are only related to the compressor. Or you're blowing coolant hoses in general.
Just in general, basically the reservoir had a crack in it. I found that, and I had a little hose off the reservoir that was cracked, and a couple of little hoses, on it. It's a 2014, so I realize it's getting older. But
let's rewind a little bit and take the liner problem off the table, okay? And we're not dealing with a liner problem. Your head's fucked.
Well, that's not good news.
It's better news than a dropped liner. How many miles are on this thing?
Right around 800,000.
Fuck. Yeah. I mean, that engine's capable of 1.3, 1.5, 1.4. It might be worth just putting a head on it.
And it's been deleted, so
yeah. Blowing the air discharge line can cause a head gasket failure in the compressor. Yeah, Glenn, but hear what he's saying here. He's had coolant losses. He had a hole in his reservoir tank, but yada, yada, yada. Now he's pressuring up hose here, hose there, hose here. That's a head. That's a fucking head problem. You gotta take the whole picture. He's painting there. This guy's got a head problem for sure. The Packard head's really not that expensive. The head gasket's really not that expensive. It's just finding a shop that'll do the job for you and not bend you over barrel.
Yeah. Well, I'm in East Texas, so anybody has any recommendations?
Yeah, if you give us a call, we got a shop right beside us. We're getting ready to send a packer over there ourselves.
Okay.
So
we'll do. Well, I appreciate your time.
All right, brother. Well, good luck with this one.
Thanks.
Yep. Bye. Oh, that sucks. You know, if I owned a PACCAR, I think that my heart would sink into my stomach if I found out I had engine problems. I'm just saying, man, because it kind of doesn't matter where you go. Everybody's gonna want quite a bit to fix it. And if you ever do one, really, I don't know if you ever fucked with it. You ever fucked with a PACCAR? No. They're really simple engines. They're push rod engines. They're almost like when you get all the shit out of the way and you're just dealing with the actual engine, you're like, this thing's like old technology. You know, it's a really simple engine. It's not bad. It's really not a bad engine to do, but it takes you 4 fucking days to get to the engine. And then it takes you 4 more fucking days to put it all back. You know, my buddy that's just right here in Jordanton, which is right beside us here, he was I asked him if he'd do a PACCAR for us. He's like, yeah, man, what should I charge for that? And I was like, you know, and he's done one before. He's like, it was pretty simple. Like, yeah, but how long did it take you to get to it? He's like 2.5 days. Like, there you go, dude. There you go. I mean, fucking the same amount of time it takes me to get to it where I can take the head off, I could have already put the head back on a Cat or even a Cummins for that matter. Just so dumb. Anyway, guys, this guy's really trying to sell his fuel additive. I'll be honest with you, man. The fuel additives, I'm not trying to knock the gentleman that called. You know, fuel additives are a hard sell, especially when you're trying to tell me that an ounce will treat 80 gallons. You know, maybe for a water isolator of some kind, but even then, you know, what kind of gains can you actually see from something like that? I mean, in reality, you know, and of course, like anything, the proofs. Somebody just said the proof's in the pudding, right? When I was trying to say it, the proof's in the pudding. Man, have you seen all the stuff? You follow that ProLube at all? Yeah. Man, I've seen quite a few guys testing that ProLube, and I can't remember who that guy is on YouTube that's kind of pretty famous for testing stuff. He was testing ProLube, and his tests on that ProLube really match exactly what we saw. It like makes the oil super acidic, and that's like the one thing you don't want to have happen to your oil. Like a bypass filter, that's one of the biggest benefits to a bypass filter is it removes all the acidic properties of oil, right? So that stupid ProLube is like turning your oil into acid. And we've had 2 trucks come in here that we rebuilt, and then the guys started running ProLube, and within like 1,000 miles, they lost all their oil pressure. And they come in and we take them apart, and there's nothing left of the bearings. I mean, just fucking shredded them. And we've had it happen twice, and both guys, the correlation was exactly the same. And we're not talking like we rebuilt it 1,000 miles ago. We're talking like 50, 60,000 miles on these engines. And the only thing they did was switch to ProLube, and the bearings are all the copper. I didn't make videos on those because of the legal reasons of not wanting to find, you know, you have to go to, you know, because it's correlation. I can't prove those things, but goddamn, man. When 2 engines do the exact same thing, and they both have, in both those engines, we rolled new bearings and everything, including the cams, gears, We redid all the bearings, and both those guys are still. That's been a couple months ago, and they're not having any problems. Go figure that one. So, and 20 below 1 gallon of gasoline to 100 gallons of diesel fuel. Yeah, that's a thing. It does work. Have you ever used Royal Purple oil in these big diesel engines? Yes, I have. I've tested the shit out of Royal Purple. The only problem I would have with Royal Purple is if you're running a bypass system with Royal Purple, it's probably not the best way to go because Royal Purple's additive package is not nano sized, and your bypass system will literally strip the additive package right out of Royal Purple. That would probably be my only. Royal Purple's good oil. It's a good true synthetic, but if you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to run Royal Purple with the bypass system, you're really fucking yourself because you can strip the additive package right out of it. But it's good oil. I'm not saying that, but bypass with AMSOIL. So I would like to make this claim that AMSOIL is the only oil on the market that if you were going to put my oil that we came up with right next to up on a table, and we were going to start putting oils next to it that could compare to it. The only thing going to be on the table is AMSOIL. AMSOIL is good oil. No one can fucking say it's not. Whether their additive package is good as ours or not is up for debate. I don't believe that it is, but their base stock oil is second to none. Like ours, we have a true tier 4 full synthetic, and a tier 4 full synthetic across the board is going to be the best oil on the market. That's what you're getting with AMSOIL. There's no doubt about it. Only thing you're going to look at is additive package. Who's got the better additive package? We have tungsten disulfide in our additive package, and it's nanoparticle size. So even a 1 micron bypass filtration system will not strip that additive package out. AMSOIL kind of gets around that by having a 2 micron bypass filtration system. Theirs only goes to 2 micron. And the problem I have with AMSOIL's bypass filtration system is it's just a truck filter with more media crammed inside of it. Well, 20 micron truck filter will plug up in 10,000 miles. What the hell is a 2 micron filter going to plug up in? Right? Yeah, I'm just saying, and you never know it because the negative consequences of a plugged up bypass filter is oil doesn't go through it and your engine just runs normal. Right? You're never going to know you have a problem. You're never going to know you have a problem. I just refuse to believe that a truck filter that's been taken down to do 2 microns is going to not plug up in 40,000 miles. There's no way. In my opinion, these are not things I have tested and know for a fact. I switched to Pro watching Hacknation test it. My 12.7 was on its way out, and I thought ProLib would do a better job than Lucas. It didn't end well for me. Fuck, dude. I don't remember making a video telling everyone to use ProLube. I did test their product. It did pretty well. I believe I said in that video that I wouldn't use it. And we have made do you actually run it and everything you own, Glenn, or are you just talking shit? Because we're 99% sure we can correlate 2 absolutely destroyed engines to ProLube. And that I can't remember the guy on YouTube that does those tests, but he tested it and he was like, do not use this shit. I can't remember that guy's name. You actually do. I would recommend you stop Glenn. I'm not even kidding. I don't have anything against ProLube. I really don't. It's not about that, you know. I don't care if I have oil at all, you know, of our own. I still would stay away from ProLube. Project Farm. That's the motherfucker. Project Farm on YouTube. Go check out his review on and that guy's like the guy that you want to watch to test everything. He has all the equipment to test stuff you know, properly and all that. And anyway, so can you get our bypass in Canada? 100%, man. We can get you a bypass, no problem. We've figured out the stupid hoops you have to jump through and the tariffs and all the stupid problems to be able to get you guys something without it absolutely raping you. So yeah, give us a call. We can get you hooked up. I had a broken rod and ProLube fixed it. So stupid. Oh, he's not talking about running ProLube. He's saying he runs Dello and everything he owns. I mean, Dello's a tier 2 oil. Again, guys, when you're arguing about who has the best tier 2 oil, you're really arguing over who has the shiniest dog turd. You really are. I mean, there isn't a tier 1 oil out there that you can say that, you know, if you go to Walmart and you buy SuperTech, that even your fucking SuperTech at Walmart is going to be hydro cracked at least once and possibly twice. There's a good possibility your SuperTech's better oil than Dello 400 for all you know. You know, it's really how many times it's been hydro cracked. And you know, and it doesn't say on the bottle. You know, it's really comes down to testing on that. And I will say this about Dello 400. Dello 400 is probably the oil that I have tested as a base, as a control. That's the word I'm looking for, right? As a control. I've used Dello 400 as a control in many tests that I've done, and Dello 400 unequivocally comes in underneath every oil I've ever tested. But again, it's still a tier 2 oil. It's still going to do its job better than our grandpa's off the shelf cheap oil, right? So that's the thing that you guys need to realize. Oh, Dello 400 always worked great for me. That's because there really is no such thing as shitty oil. It doesn't exist, right? So, but if you were gonna put Dello 400 up against Rotella, especially put it up against what's Exxon's oil? Delvac, Mobile Delvac. Put it up against Mobile Delvac will mop the fucking floor with Dello 400. That is a fact. Mobile Delvac is as close as you can get to synthetic without it being labeled as a synthetic. You mix ProLube with Dello and said the real answer is to not use Dello. Yeah. You know, I'm really hard on Dello 400 because I've literally tested that more than any other oil. I always use it as my control that I'm comparing other oils to, whether we're running it for 12,000 miles and doing oil samples, or we're running it for 20,000 miles doing oil samples, or if we're putting it on our Timken bearing tester. It always performs the worst. We always get the most oil consumption. So I have some tests we did in Alaska, and we used Mobile Delvac. We used Rotella. T4, and we used and we did one with T6, and we did the Dello 400, and we alternated through the trucks, right? So we had four control trucks. The trucks running Dello 400 burned an average of between 2 and 3 gallons in a 10,000 mile oil change, and the rest of them were anywhere from a half a gallon to a quart. It didn't matter which truck we put it in. Oil samples that we were pulling at 10,000 miles consistently showed Dello 400 to be the most completely wasted, the worst viscosity, just all around. It's the worst oil, Now, again, Dello 400 was never compromising the engine. You see what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a bad oil. There's just better oils. This fucking guy, dude. How long does your bypass filter last before changing? We recommend 40,000. So every 40,000, you're going to do a filter change. We recommend you do the truck filter at 20,000 and the bypass filter at 40,000. So obviously when you're doing the 40,000, you're doing the truck filter again. And it comes with an oil analysis kit. So you're going to take that oil sample at the 40,000. Every 40,000, you're going to drop a new filter, do an oil sample, and we help monitor it with you. Obviously, we're after that info as proof positive of our product working, but we also want to make sure that everything's working out for you. What's the point of the bypass filtration system? So you have to understand how your oil system works, and we're going to have to wrap this up. We're getting pretty late here, but your oil filtration system, your run-of-the-mill, off-the-counter, like B299 filter is a 35 to 40 micron filter. Okay, that is not very much filtration. It's really not, but you have to understand your engine's trying to run 40 or 60 or 65 psi oil pressure. You're not going to do that if you have a 1, 2, 5 micron filter. It's not going to happen. You cannot pass enough fluid through the filter to keep up that kind of oil pressure. So there has to be a trade-off. And that trade-off is much bigger media that the oil is able to pass through very quickly. Your truck is filtering your 10 or 12 gallon sump in minutes. The entire amount of your oil is getting filtered, every minute or two. So it's hauling ass through that filter. Okay. An oil bypass system takes oil independently of your oiling system, like from your oil rifle, goes into the bypass system, and then returns to the oil pan. It might take an hour to filter, or 3 hours to filter your entire 10 gallons of oil, but it's filtering it to 1 micron. Now, at 1 micron, you're also pulling all of the water and acid out of your oil as well, which water is actually what makes your oil acidic. So you're renewing the oil like brand new every 2 or 3 hours. It's like you're literally stopping and changing your oil every 3 hours. You always have brand new oil. That's the point. Yeah, I've had good luck with Dello for the last 30 years. I kind of already addressed that, Glenn. There's no such thing as a shitty oil. You can run Dello for the rest of your life and not have any negative connotations of it, but you're not running anywhere near the best oil you can for the same price. That's all I'm trying to say. There's oils out there that are much, much better. Doesn't mean you're going to have some kind of failure because, oh, you ran Dello. How dare you, right? You want to know what's an oil that's worse than Dello? There is one that's worse that it gets used by everybody, and it's that Mystic. That Mystic oil is worse than Dello by a long shot, and they claim it's a semi-synthetic. That Mystic oil is absolute fucking trash. Absolute trash. I tested the shit out of Mystic. I bought 4 55-gallon drums of it, and I wouldn't use that in my fucking stepmom's car. Fuck that shit. That stuff's terrible. But again, it's going to do the job. There's no such thing as a bad oil. And it's because of the introduction of hydrocracking. Google it. Figure out what I'm talking about. All oil is hydrocracked. So anyway, all right, guys. We're almost an hour overdue here, but I fucked y'all over and didn't do the show on the regularly scheduled program, so I figured we'd go ahead and extend it a little bit. And I was enjoying myself. So Mobile makes good oil. Mobile makes great oil, whether it be Mobile Delvac. In fact, let me give you a testament before we go here. of how good an oil actually makes. We recommend to people that are picking up engines from us to not use mobile Delvac in their engine for at least the first 10,000 miles because we experience too much oil loss because there's too high of a risk of it not seating the rings because the oil works too damn good. T6, is it good for the money? Yes, T6 is great for the money. Depends on what you're trying to do with it. Are you trying to go a million miles on T6? That's really not great oil at all. Are you trying to go from being, I change my oil every 10,000? Do I change it to a guy that changes it every 20,000? Then yes, it's a great oil. Are you just trying to, you're not so worried about saving any money and you just want to have way better oil than T4 or, any of the other alternatives on the market that are just conventional oil? 100%. T6 is badass oil. It's just, all these oils have to be in the right application, right? If you're running Delo 400, you need to be a religious 10,000 miles and change it, and don't bitch if you have to do 2 gallons of makeup oil in that 10,000 miles, right? It's just the way it is. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Y'all have a good night. I will see you next week. Is T4 good oil? Yes, T4 is good oil. You know what? I'm going to tell you guys another little industry secret here. If you're going to run T4 or T6, you might as well run Cinepec instead. If you're a T4 guy, go buy Cinepec in the fucking 55-gallon drum barrel and save yourself an incredible amount of money. If you run Rotella's T6, go buy Cinepec's full synthetic oil and run that instead. And here's why. Shell, Rotella, and Cinepec share the same oil field, and they're joint ventures in the same oil field, and they produce all of their oil together. You can call Cinepec and say, I want your American product, and they will send you a silver barrel instead of a red barrel. It's the exact same fucking oil out of the same fucking oil field, but it's Shell's product instead of Cinepec's. So if you like saving money, then buy Cinepec's oil instead and buy it in bulk. Same company, same oil field, same bad channel. Anyway, guys, have a good night. Love you long time. I'll see you next.